Hey everybody, this is Tim Smith from the TSR Speed Shop, and you're listening to the No Name Podcast with hosts Keenan White and JQ. Is that Jackass on this show? Ah, forget this.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and thank you for joining us. This week, our guest is a little bit out of our normal RC box. I know we focus on 8-scale Nitro and off-road mostly, but I decided to have Tim Smith from the TSR podcast and drag racing, RC drag racing fame, as well as a Facebook personality and on this podcast because I like his podcast. Number one, it was very inspirational to me starting this podcast, and I like what Tim has to say. He's very open. He's open-minded. He's very opinionated and isn't afraid to say what he wants to say. So I thought it'd be a great talk, which it ended up being a really good talk. So I know this isn't about 8-scale and off-road per se, but it is still relevant to our industry. So it's a good conversation. It went on longer as usual. You know, as usual, our podcasts go on longer than anything anyway. So without rambling on too much about it, I'll let you guys listen to it after I've done the this whole spiel on the introduction. I like to first say thank you to all the No Name RC podcast listeners from around the world. Thank you for all your support, man. We guys can't do it without you. Thank you for all the people that go the extra mile on Patreon. We did put up the Tim Smith podcast on Monday, I believe. Might have been late Monday, late Tuesday for all our Patreon supporters to listen to. I hope you did enjoy it. And I want to say thank you to our sponsors, ASsaultRC.com. Thank you for coming on board and sponsoring the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Fast Race or FastRaceShop.com for the 10 question, 10 second segment. Our new sponsor, Techno RC, for coming on and sponsoring probably one of the most popular segments on the podcast, the Grassroots Racer Spotlight. I know some of you guys have messaged me about coming on. I have recorded quite a few. If you're still interested in coming on the Grassroots Racer Spotlight, please contact me via private message and we'll sort it out, man. You know, I'm busy, but I'm trying to work things out. So thank you, Techno, for coming on, as well as thank you, JQ Racing, for the JQ Racing Rant. And also, I want to shout out to all my JQ racers from around the world. You guys were racing all this weekend. Everybody was racing this weekend. We had some good results. We have mixed results. Yeah, it's good to see. Good to see people racing. Yeah. We got a lot of racing coming up. Next week, we have AMS, which I attended last year. Actually, sorry, before next week, we have the Manufacturers Cup at A-Main Hobbies. The guy that builds that track, that dude builds some great tracks. Man, it's so awesome. The manufacturer truck is a whole different type of racing, I believe. They do somewhat gate starts, I believe. Not actual gate starts like with a gate, but in the past, I've seen how they do it. It's like a staggered start. And I think that's going to be pretty awesome if they run that format this week. I know my good buddy Will Smith, he's going up to that race this weekend. I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. A-Main Track's awesome. Manufacturers Cup's awesome. Then we have AMS coming up the week after as well. I went to AMS last year. It was the week after the Nationals. I had fun. I actually got to race. You know, I was actually experiencing 3-second to 4-second airtime. It was great. As usual, Dave puts on a great program, race time, entertainment. They have a lot of the top pros going there. I believe Ty Tessman's going to his first race time entertainment race, which is great. I know everybody's getting ready for the Nationals, which is coming up shortly in a few weeks. Yeah, in less than a month, the Nationals will be around. So I guess it's full on 8-scale mode. Also, don't forget, we have RCGP Fairing, Austria, round 2, which is going to be great too, because now we have added drivers to the RCGP class. Boots will be there, Barufalo will be there, so it's going to be great. So we have two great races going on at the same time with 2 complete different groups of pros. It's going to be great. One day we'll get them all racing together, though. That'd be great. Yeah. Then we have the Euros coming up. We just had the Euros warm up this past weekend, which I'm actually going to hit up Joseph in a minute to talk about, because there was some action going on there that we need to discuss. And we have the Nationals coming up, which I still think is probably going to be one of the best Nationals in a long time, because it's not going to be inhibited by weather. It's not going to be, dictated by rain or anything like that. So it's going to be straight up racing and whatnot. Also, I want to say congratulations and thank you to Joey Showers, Corbin Showers, Christian Showers, all the people involved, Bobby Moore, who went over and built the track for him at the Sun City RC Raceway. As you guys know, last week I did the Packy Chip Challenge for this race, and not me, because Andrew Rizzo from Positive RC Movement helped me as well. Thank you, Andrew. You came on board and started the GoFund for me because I couldn't do it. We ended up raising $555 on that, and then Joey Showers matched 500 of it. So actually, we raised $1,055. By the time GoFund took their fees, it was $1,018. And then with the race, from the race fees and the raffles, there was another $3,000. So I think all in total, the Showers family are donating $4,045 to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. So thank you to all of those that donated for that. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed me watching me. You know what? It wasn't that bad. It was hot. Yes, it was hot. And it lasted a long time. My mouth went completely numb. I tried to drink a beer and I couldn't even taste the beer. But it was bad, but I think I handled it good. People say I was crying. Yes, I was crying. Tears started running instantly. But it was for a great cause, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, lots of racing going on, lots of things happening. Thank you for, we're trying also, we're looking at doing things a little bit different here on the podcast. We're trying to bring more content. We know there's a lot of racing going on, a lot of news going on as well during the weekend. So we're going to start covering that a little bit more. Also, if anybody's interested in advertising or looking for a good way to advertise for their small business or any business in RC that you think you can, hit us up. We're looking to, we have sponsorship levels for every business available, starting from very low to very high. We're looking to, broaden our horizons on the podcast, get some advertising in, help us out a little bit so we can continue to bring content for you guys. And I think it's a great way to advertise. So if you're interested, a few guys have hit me up. We're working out the fine details for the sponsorship. It's not much, but every little bit helps. And I think it can be great. Podcasts is, growing, which I love. I enjoy doing them. So hopefully, people can see that this is a good place to advertise. So hit me up. Let me know if you guys are interested. And yeah, I want to shout out to Beach RC, Brent Dansford, JQ Racing USA distributor. Thank you for all your help, dude. My buddy is putting in a lot of work. Thank you to Andrew Rennick at Model Tune UK. Thank you to Jerome Chambon in Europe. And just, man, thank you to everybody that supports us, man. We honestly can't do it without you. And I enjoy bringing these podcasts to you. We put a lot of work into them, a lot of coordinating. I put my soul into these things, and it's my passion, and I enjoy it. But hopefully I'm going to start racing again. I'm working on getting racing again. Hopefully that's going to happen here. Pulling some trigger. And we got some great guests lined up for you. So I did put a question in the Facebook group. Who would you like to see on the podcast? So we're trying to work, with these people. I know a lot of people are at races, so it's kind of difficult to work it out. But we're trying our best to bring you guys, the listeners, great content. So with that said, now let me hit up Joseph and bring him on, because we want to talk about a few things that's happened over the last few hours, after the last 48 hours, plus the Euro warm-up. So Let me call up Joseph. What's up, you low class Finnish guy? How you doing?
What's up? Just doing, kind of low class gypsy things. Yeah, looking for a dog to kick right now, actually.
Oh yeah, gypsies and pikeys. That's all we're made up of, apparently. Too funny.
That's how it goes. How it goes.
So what's up, man? Brought you on here. I wanted to, mainly I want to talk about the Euro warm-ups, which was pretty good, full of action. And I don't know, just doing my intro here before we go on to, before I go on to interview or put up the Tim Smith podcast interview, which I think was pretty good. So what's going on, man? Talk to me. Are you ready for RCGP?
Yeah, it's next week. 10th sign Austria. All the stuff is in Austria. Hopefully trophies will get there in time too from Italy. Mm-hmm. And me and Max are flying over there on Sunday, so in just a few days, and we'll start preparing, and should be a good race. The weather's looking good now. They've had a lot of rain there, but it's looking good now for the coming week, so should be good. Good stuff.
So hey, man, being as you're all low class and all this type of stuff, what's this I see in the internet here? What does I see in the old interweb over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, I mean, how can I say this? I can't say that all of this kind of stuff wasn't expected. I mean, you reap what you sow, I guess. Everyone knows that I'm opinionated. I share my opinion. I tell it like I see it. And some people just can't handle that. Like this whole situation, no need really to get into it because it's not really an RCGP problem. It's not a money issue. Everything's been paid. That's been agreed, and even more than what we agreed before the race. So everything's settled. Everything's good. There's no real issue other than a personal beef between someone and me. I don't have a problem with them, but there are other people too. They don't like the way I am direct and honest and say what I think. They couldn't handle it and they got mad, and now they're just kind of getting their revenge, trying to tear down anything that I'm trying to do. And that's all I'm going to say. No reason really to get deeper into it.
Yeah, it's no reason. We need to make him famous. We can just continue on. The show must go on. RCGP in Austria in a week's time, and it's going to be great. We have 2 great races going on.
I think, the first race in Manila was a success as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you look at the feedback online and you look at the coverage and the racing itself, I think it was great. Like, it actually worked out great. And now we're going on to the next race.
Yeah.
Life goes on. I mean, change is difficult, and people just have to accept it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't wait to see the results. I'll be actually, it's my son's birthday, so I'll be busy doing that thing. So I probably won't watch as much as I want to, but it's all good, man. But we'll talk about that afterwards. Let's talk about a race that happened this weekend. Euros warm-ups at the Ungaro ring. It looks so much different. Like, I think when I saw it in 2015, it had, I guess they're going to paint it up and make it look pretty for it's going to look a lot better, obviously, for the actual Euros. But big track, very high speed, lots of racing going on there this weekend.
Yeah, it looked very different to when we were there.
Yeah.
For the Euros. Like the surface was different. Maybe because it rained also. It looked really smooth and low grip, where it was kind of rough and edgy and high grip when we were there last time. So curious to see what it's going to be like for the Euros.
Yeah. And as predicted, Ungaro won. I mean, he's on fire. And that is his home track, and we don't know how many thousands of laps he has on that track, but such is life.
Yeah, he did win, but actually, I heard that Marco Barufalo was actually the fastest in the main.
Yeah,
and he was leading too, but he had some flame outs. Mm-hmm. I think 1 on the track and 2 in the pits or something like that. So a number of flame outs that dropped him out of contention. But Ongaro made some mistakes early. He was kind of battling with Ronnie Falk, I think, but not at the front of the pack. Barufalo took the lead and pulled away. So that's what I heard happened. And then after that, Ongaro took over, and that's that.
I think Barufalo is one of the most underrated racers in RC. He is fast, dude. He does some amazing things with a car. Like, I saw him at DNC take a line I didn't see anybody else even think of doing. And he did it a few times.
His time will come.
Yeah.
I think his time will come.
He's still young. I think it's 21, 22. He's not old. He's not an old dude. So, he's got to calm down a little bit, learn not to be so full punched all the time. And the good thing is he's going to RCGP next week. So that's going to be exciting as well.
Yeah, I think we made the correct wild card choice, seeing that his form is right there and he'll be fighting for the win.
And Boots will be there, as well as Jorn Newman. It's going to be great, dude.
Yeah, I heard Boots was also actually higher up, but something happened. What happened to Boots?
No idea.
There was some problem. I can't remember now. I asked David what happened to Boots, and he told me, but I can't remember now.
And once again, proof that last chance qualifiers are awesome. Young Hampusberg from Sweden. He won the LCQ and went on to the final. That was cool.
Yeah, and unintentionally caused some drama in the final.
Oh yeah, that's what we need to talk about. Well, let's say who won. Ongaro won. David Ronnefall came second, and Robert Battier third. Right? That's the podium. Yao Figueroa, I think, was top 5 as well. So good drive for him as well. All right, so there was some drama. It was on Facebook yesterday between Ronnefall, InfoRC, and Battier. And you tell me about it. I talked to, I read the comments as well, and whatnot. It's not that big of a deal, but it is, it is a little bit exciting. It's a little bit of drama race-wise that we have going on in RC. I like Ronnefall because he kind of says what's on his mind too, as well. And I'll let you take over from here. I'm gonna have a drink of water.
Well, I think over the years, David and Robert have had some drama, because they've been, fighting for Euros wins in Spain and Sweden and other places. So they've had some drama before. David's taken Robert out, Robert's taken David out. It's probably been pretty even, but it's just there's been situations where one of the guys is mad at the other one, and the other one's mad at the other one, and some, Facebook posts this way and that way. So this is just adding to that, I guess. But what happened was, Hampus is Swedish and races an HB. So InfoRC had posted a report from the race, which made it seem like Hampus had intentionally blocked Robert or knocked him off the track or caused him to crash or something like this, handing David second place. That's what the original report had stated. When reality was that Hampus' car broke, the driveline broke. There's a clip that holds that pinion in the gearbox, and the clip came out, so he lost drive. So his car was two-wheel drive, and his car got stuck on a jump or something like this, like slowed down on the jump because it was two-wheel drive. And then Robert hit him and crashed on the jump. And then David got by. So it was just a mistake, like bad racing incident where Hampus' car broke and Robert was going full speed, hit him, crash. That's it. So then David posted about this, and then Robert got involved, and then I guess David's original post was a bit more direct and aggressive, let's say, than what's posted there now. Mm-hmm. And I guess the InfoRC guys edited their report, and now everyone's happy. But yeah, there was a bit of drama there for a bit.
Yeah, I think
with people figuring out what actually happened.
I think Battier and Ronnefall are probably friends, but at the end of the day, they're competitors, dude. And they're the two of the best drivers in Europe. They're gonna go down as two of the best drivers ever. So yeah, they want to beat each other. And you know what this means? They get to race again in a week's time. So there's gonna be some. I think there's gonna be a little bit of I want to definitely. Both of them are gonna want to beat each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna add some fuel to the fire there.
Yeah.
Like Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to
so.
it. And then, then they'll meet, and this is the great thing, then they'll meet again at the Euros. When are the Euros anyway?
July, like mid-July.
Okay. Maybe, is there another big race in between that besides RCGP?
And the Bitti design, like third week of June in Italy.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big one. And then I think the next one is actually the Euros then.
Yeah, I think so too. So it should be good.
And then like 2 weeks after the Euros is the third RCGP in
Asti,
Italy.
right?
In Asti,
yeah, that's going to be awesome. That track's actually, what's the story with that track?
It's a former football player.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know, like top professional football player.
That owns it? And
he owns it, and he's all into RC and has his own track, and yeah.
And
by the way, Boots, I said I couldn't remember what happened. I checked the messages, so Boots had a tire come unglued. Had to change the tire, so that's why he would have been second.
Yeah.
But
Boots is on good form, man. Boots is on good form. I think I'm looking forward to next weekend, man. The racing, like that's the beautiful thing about RCGP is we're going to be watching racing from the very start. Like the qualifiers are going to be racing. Wow, it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Yeah, and the field is so good now. We have Ongaro, Ronefalk, Robert, Boots, Barofalo. They're all going to be there. And who else? Ogden.
Yeah.
Carl McBride, Lee Martin. Yeah, it's a strong field for this race.
And then you got
we have Jorn Neumann also. He wasn't at the first race.
Don't sleep on Jorn Neumann, dude. Do not sleep on that dude. He's fast. And then you have the younger guys, Patrick Hoffer, Mitchell Wiedemeyer, Max, and then
it's gonna be pretty tough to finish seventh. Now.
Yeah, I'm really predicting like second to last for you. Max is gonna beat you.
Dude. There's no way I'm gonna be second to last.
All right, then you'll be last. Jesus.
Last?
Yeah, Max is gonna dominate you this round.
I'm gonna be top 10. I'm gonna be top 10.
You're not gonna beat Max.
I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna be top 10 both days.
Not gonna beat Max. Sorry. Hey.
Then he'll be top 10 also.
He's just gonna be like so much faster than you. This is his type of track. Like I know.
Okay, whatever you say, but
my faith in you is.
But I'm still top 10.
My faith in you is like just like downsizing by the day. I see your RC skills diminishing by the hour. So another race.
RC skills are fine. I'm just waiting for the right moment.
Yeah, you've been waiting.
Doing all these low class things first, and then I'll figure things out. And I think 2020 will be my year. Maybe 2021. Like I think when I'm 39 years old, when is that? 2022, 2023. That's gonna be my year. Like I'm shooting for that,
dude.
That's when you're gonna see my best results. I'm gonna blow you away, Keenan.
Yeah, I'm waiting to be proven wrong, but I'm not holding my breath.
By then, we must have a new car.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
I don't know what it's gonna be called, but that car is gonna be. That's gonna be the money, and that's when I'm getting my results.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like RC. I'm gonna win an RCGP event.
Well, I'm glad you have goals. I have goals too. Doesn't mean they're all achievable.
Well, so far I've achieved my goal.
There was also another race. We don't know too much about it, but they had the world's 10 scale warm up where's Hudi located in Slovakia? Yeah,
Slovakia. Yeah.
At the Hudi Arena. It looks like.
Okay. Can I just say one thing?
What's that?
Hudi Arena is awesome. That's everything I hear. But wherever they are holding this race, I need to work on that a bit. It didn't look very good. I mean, the whole where are people gonna watch the racing?
I don't know.
It just hopefully for the actual world, it's gonna look a bit better.
I mean, obviously, I think they just have it set up for the warm up. It's a spec tire.
We'll see what they figure out.
It's a spec tire event. I think this tire is whole shots. I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
And X-Ray swept the 4-wheel drive class. I think Martin Bear won 2-wheel drive. It's to be expected. It's their
I think the actual worlds will be a bit different.
Yeah.
But you know what was surprising?
What was that?
no Ryan Mayfield, no Ryan
Yeah,
Cavallari.
I found that very shocking too. No Ty Tessman there, no Cav, no,
and Tessman too.
no,
And Tebow, no Techno.
nothing.
Like, what the hell? But you know what's funny? I messaged Mayfield. I'm like, hey, where are you? It's the world's warm-up. He's like, wasted time. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's a waste of time.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the cream will rise to the top anyway at the end of the day. So
Yeah, so I guess what the deal is, so if some listeners didn't figure it out, is the Hoodie Arena is X-Ray's home track. They own the track, they run it, they practice and test there. So having the Worlds there will give them a huge advantage. I mean, it was pretty obvious. X-Ray got first, second, and third in, was it four-wheel drive? Mm-hmm. First and second in two-wheel drive?
yeah.
So, yes, there's an advantage. So now there's talk about that. Like, hey, is it right to have a Worlds at the manufacturer's
But they moved it.
track?
They moved it because it was supposed to be in France, and then they moved it to this track.
Yeah, but there was also this UK track, which is really good. Robin Hood Raceway.
Yeah.
They also applied for it, but they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I went there for the Euros, and it was awesome.
It's a great
It
track.
was awesome. The English, like the BRCA guys, they know how to put on a race.
Yeah. I watched that race
So-
too. And there's also controversy surrounding X-Ray at that race too.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But I think they would have had the Worlds on the AstroTurf there. That's what I heard, at least.
yeah, but they had like a mixed Astro dirt track when I saw it, the Euros.
No, it was all dirt. There was some carpet on it, I think, but it was dirt. But yeah, I mean, if the Worlds had been there on dirt in England, I would have tried to go, because that's the best 10 scale track I've driven on, I think.
Being as we're talking about news, man, where's Martin Walanka?
You know, that's a good point. Originally, he was going to do that RCGP in Austria, right? Because it's Austrian. He's Austrian.
Right.
I don't know what happened, but based on his Facebook posts, he had some sort of like mental breakdown. Mm-hmm. Like he's been RC 24/7 for a few years, it seems.
Right, but he has a real job too.
He has a real job too. He's working, but his mind is probably on RC. Then he practices and wrenches and races and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's been like going for it. And when he first joined S-Works, he was basically S-Works' best driver.
Yeah.
Like only guy. And he's been doing quite well. His best result was before he joined S-Works. He was second at the Euros. So he's no slouch. Like,
no,
he's
not.
At times he can be really good. And yeah, so he was working on his S-Works cars, improving results. And then S-Works started signing drivers. And my theory is that they just signed one driver after another, and he just got bumped lower and lower on the team. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Boots was the last straw, I guess. And then he just lost it.
Yeah. He's still a great driver.
Off the team, pretty much, like, travel, this and that. And he's, like, put in all that work. And I don't know. He had some breakdown at the NEOS where he, like, smashed his car in the ground and bent the chassis. And there was some really strange Facebook posts. And then he just, poof, disappeared.
Yeah, but I think he got... he's going to be running Mugen. And
yeah, he bought the Mugen, and he's been running that, and now he's like, yeah, let's just do this for fun. So
yeah, I hope so.
I'm curious to see when he resurfaces and what happens.
Because he's very talented, and, you know...
Yeah, actually in 10 scale too.
Yeah.
He's been really good in 10 scale too.
So
at the Euros and stuff, so... Yeah, I want to see him back. Like, I like Walanka because he's different.
Yeah.
He's like he doesn't care. He's just himself and does what he wants. It's funny. It's comedy. I like it.
You know what other race we have coming up this weekend that I forgot to talk about? The Paddy Piston race in Ireland. This is Ireland's biggest race, I think.
Yeah, they've been wanting me to go there forever.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, but just like now, I can't. I'm going to prepare for the RCGP.
That's a different track too. It's
just
like,
about always something going on.
That's a different track too. Bradley hit me up and talked about it, so you guys could tune into that
track
too.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's always looked good. It's one of the tracks I've always wanted to go to. It's like mixed, like concrete block, and it's pretty good, man. It's pretty badass. Yeah. So Paddy Piston race this week in Ireland. Bradley Beard, few guys from the UK are going over there from England to race. So should be another. It's a lot. Oh man, I love it. This is my element. All this racing going on. We got lots to talk about, lots to follow. I can't wait. We got lots to talk about. So
Yeah, we should do a RCGP preview.
we are going to do a RCGP preview.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Calm down. Calm down.
Calm down.
All right. Well, we talked about everything that's kind of went on. I'm going to go, talk to Tim Smith, and then I'll hit you back up for the Assault RC segment and the rant.
Sounds like a plan. I'll go find that dog.
Hey, man, keep it low class.
No worries.
All right.
I always do.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey, this is Brent with Beach RC and JQ Racing USA. You're listening to the No Name RC podcast with Lefty the Great, and I'm here to tell you that pink pinions matter.
So, hey, everybody. This week, we're going to step out of our 8-scale Nitro off-road box and look at another genre of RC. Tonight's guest is a fellow podcaster, an avid RC drag racer. I would say RC celebrity personality. He holds multiple speed run records and other crazy records that we'll talk about in this podcast. And he's probably one of the people that inspired me to start a podcast. I would like to welcome Tim Smith of Tim Smith Racing. What's up, Tim? How are you?
Hey, wow. After that, I don't know what even to say.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're not the type of guy that goes speechless. So that's why I'm glad to have you on this podcast.
We'll see.
So how are you, man?
I'm doing really good.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
living in awesome Southern California.
Yeah, you're from Rancho Cucamonga, right?
No, I'm from Temecula is the closest city to me.
Temecula. Yeah, we was just like all over by there in February for the Dirt Nitro Challenge. It was in, where was it? I know Temecula wasn't far away. I'm probably confused because everything's far away in California due to traffic. So, yeah, good stuff. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. I've heard a couple of your shows. I really like them.
Thank you. Yeah, I listen to you and Matrick, as you call him. I also listen to his MBM podcast. And I've learned quite a bit about RC drag racing that I didn't even know it existed until I started listening to you. Well, not so deep until I started listening to you. I enjoy the way you do your podcast. You know, your antics, like going to Axial Fest in a cowboy hat, I thought was awesome. And yeah, I just like your attitude and outlook on RC. So I thought it'd be good to have you on the podcast.
It's so weird to be on this side.
Yeah.
Usually over there answering, just spewing off whatever I'm talking about, but to sit and have to actually answer questions, good luck to you, man. You're going to be running into a wall.
Are you going to be shy? I just can't imagine you being shy.
I don't know if I'm shy. Just, hearing someone say so many things like that, this is just a hobby and it's just a fun thing. And, I personally do take some pride and pleasure in the things I've done and that, but to hear it just makes you feel a little stupid.
No,
I mean,
not at all, dude.
Too, for God's
sake.
So.
You know what? Nick Damon, he actually does. He's a commentator for RC races, 8-scale races out of England. He also does full-scale racing as well. He says he doesn't call it toy cars; he calls it scale motorsports. So I try to say that,
Well, my neighbors all think I play with toy cars. So.
That's all right. Most people think we do anyway. So, I don't know. I think it's cool. So,
yeah, it is. I mean, it's just your thing. A funny thing. We were in Vegas a couple weeks ago. I was meeting up with Matt, and we were walking through part of this hotel, and Matt had my Pro Stock car, one of my small drag cars in his hands as he's walking, and as we're walking along through this hotel like lobby area, every guy that passed him, like their heads snapped off their shoulders trying to look at that car. Mm-hmm. Like every guy, and some of them were holding like girls' hands or whatever, and they didn't pay any attention at all. They just were looking at whatever they were looking at. But every guy, like it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, age, anything. You see this little race car, and you're like a kid again. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, oh, what is that? Ooh, ooh. They just like, ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah. We was actually in Vegas at the same time, but never had a chance to meet up. So
we were supposed to go down to Silver State, all of us, but
yeah,
it's Vegas.
Vegas,
so
yeah.
Things happen, and sometimes you don't leave certain hotel rooms for a long time.
Oh yeah, I actually lost my wallet on the last night there. Oh man, I was upset. Yeah, but I didn't have much money. Don't worry, but it had a lot of memorable things in there that I kind of just stupid. Was outside sitting on the stairs outside the room with the guys having a few beers, and I put it on to my side. We got up to go do Vegas things, and I forgot all about it.
Oh man. And no one turned it in?
No, someone got that and got $150 to go gamble with. So
at least they had taken the money and turned it in.
Yeah, that's all.
Think just give me my stuff back. Yeah. Like whatever with the money, I don't care.
All right. So let's yeah, but Vegas got you some way somehow. So
didn't it? It still stole $150 off you, didn't it?
They're like, you cheap bastard, you didn't gamble. Here you go.
Sneaky on that one.
Yeah, it was cool. Vegas is definitely different. Definitely a different vibe altogether. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I guess we can start with some of your early beginnings. I mean, how did you kind of get into RC? Like, you've been into it for a long time. So how did you start?
I mean, when I was like, I don't know, 13 or something like that, a paper route, and I saved a bunch of money so I could buy this this Trans Am remote control car from Radio Shack. So that was kind of the first, I think. Like I really wanted that car, and so I saved up and bought it. But then I don't remember doing much after, because when you're a kid, you have no money, and unless your parents are going to dole out a bunch of cash. And at that time, RC was kind of different. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like the car at Radio Shack was it's a pretty limited car, what it could do. It wasn't a J car, they kind of just go forward and back and turn, but I'm sure it was, I think it just had a little bit right and a little bit left, and that was it. Front and, forward and reverse.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was working at a company, McDonnell Douglas, they make airplanes, or they used to, at least, and I just had extra money. I was like, 19, 20 years old, and I was working for the union. I worked 7 days a week, and I had a bunch of cash. And so I went into a hobby shop and thought, I'm going to buy something really cool. And I went in there, and I bought, a Tamiya Grasshopper, and raced around and beat it up, and broke it, and then found a hobby shop. And at the hobby shop, they raced oval, and so then I went into oval for a while, and then a guy came into the oval races one day with a dragster. Woo! And I loved that, and so I went to where they did drag racing, and I built a dragster, and I started doing that for a while. While I still did oval, and I did on-road somewhere in there too, because those were kind of the things going on out here in Southern California. Mm-hmm. On-road and oval was kind of the deal.
Was that 12 scale you was doing a lot of?
Yeah, 12 scale on-road, mm-hmm. and oval was 10 scale.
Yeah, and that was all paved oval, right? Because
yeah. I mean, there was a couple places that had. There was a place called Bob and Jim's in Riverside, for those of you old folks, and they had a indoor carpet, and they did oval a couple days and a road course, and another couple days they just reconfigured kind of thing.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing now, especially in the East Coast and Midwest, is dirt oval is really growing. It's big, and lots of people are doing it. It looks fun. I've never really raced the oval, any type of thing, but it's so funny you talk about oval, because I say this all the time. My first experience, all of us had that kid that had the Grasshopper, like you said, but but my first RC magazine was actually from the Velodrome. Like the RC Car Action, 1990, 1991, I can't remember, and had all the cars lined up in the Velodrome. That's what I'm thinking. One of those cars were probably yours.
Yeah, I raced at that race. I know I did. Yeah. One of those years is when I did the first speed run thing. That was a velodrome speed run, so you went around in circles. A velodrome is like a big ass bicycle paved oval. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. But for RC cars, it's a good damn time.
Yeah.
So, they did some speed runs out there, and that's kind of where I started doing that. But I was doing drag racing, so my idea was I was just going to take what I already knew would go 70-plus miles an hour and just put it into an oval car, into a RC10L. and just try to drive the wheels off it and make it go around that track a few times. So.
Yeah. How was that compared to drag racing? Completely different?
Oval? Yeah. They're different in some requirements by you, you know.
I mean, trying to get the speed up. Obviously, it's not just one run. You can do multiple laps.
Then it was like the average of I think 3 or 4 runs or laps. I don't remember what exactly, but it was average of a few laps, and so you know it was all about just keeping your average up. And the record was like 60, maybe 68 mile an hour, something like that, 67, I think, by Kent Clausen.
Yes.
And then I came out and I ran like 72, 71, 70. I basically dropped a mile an hour every lap. And then I think it was on the 3rd or the 4th lap, where the last lap was, I was coming down the back straightaway, and we were running cap tires, like, you know, foam with a rubber cover over them. And it just annihilated the right rear tire going down the back straightaway. All the foam came out, the cap came off. And so there was nothing there. So I went in the corner and it just round, and that was that. It was all over.
Yeah, I remember watching that, like the old VHS cassettes. I think when Cliff Lett set his record.
Yeah.
There and all that. Man, it's not. It's big too. It's not actually. It's a pretty big oval, and like, man, them cars are going so fast. You can't make any mistakes, man.
There was a few videos of that run of mine floating around. I know from a guy that was there, and then who was it? Was it Mike Reedy? They had a cassette tape line or whatever, and they supposedly had that year's stuff in it, but I've never found anybody who actually owned the tape.
It's probably on YouTube. We probably find it on YouTube, to be honest.
Maybe I have to poke around sometime. But,
so
it's fun.
So you're drag racing, and this is when oval was also in its heyday. This is when it was big, and 12 scale was big as well.
Yep.
And how did you make out in? How was you? I'm looking at some of your accolades in that you sent me here. You was doing really well in drag racing back then.
And that sounds egotistical, but okay.
I mean, what it is that's
He asked everybody. He asked. He said, "Send me stuff."
Yeah, so I did. Because I wanted to know. You know, I've heard you, but I wanted to have it for my record so we could talk about it.
I have some serious issues. I mean, anybody who's listened to my show should already know that.
Oh, I know. I love it. That's why.
It's a whole other piece. So this should be fun for everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. What was your question?
How was drag racing and an oval and 12 scale back in the 90s? At least when you was racing them, like it was the pinnacle.
Yeah, it was for all three of those, honestly. Even though drag racing's really the only one that's actually survived, which is shocking. I mean, when you think about it. I mean, the other two have survived, but there really aren't that many places out here in California anymore do them.
No,
you know,
not at all.
I know of 2 drag strips that run every other weekend out here that are within an hour of me. So something's up.
It's grown, and I think you play a big part in that. Like, you have been very vocal, very visual about drag racing, and like since I've been listening to your show a few years ago up until now, it's like now I just was watching the video about the conversion for the slash to the. I'm very ignorant about drag racing terms because like I didn't grow up in drag racing world, so I don't know all of the terms like pro stock and I don't know all of that. So it's like people want to do it now, and and I think you're one of the reasons why, because you've been pushing it, dude.
I appreciate that, and I like to kind of think so for a few reasons. One, if you know my deal, you already know this. If you don't know my deal, my deal honestly is I really honestly love RC, and not a lot of people can say that, and I've loved it for a very long time. I mean, like I said, the late 80s, early 90s, I was deep. I was racing every weekend, traveling, doing it all. Yeah. And so, and it's kind of been that way almost the whole time. Like I've taken little periods here and there, but you know, just to catch a breath.
Yes.
But it's been my thing, and I honestly really love it, and I think it's awesome, and I want to show people how awesome it is. And luckily for us, as time has gone on, social media has come along. I didn't have all this
Yep.
Way back in the day, you just had to really try to get your stuff in magazines, which I was super fortunate then too. I met some great people. You know, it's all about that. You know, what comes around you. I met some people that were deep in the industry, and so you know they kind of nourish you along. And you learn how to navigate kind of a strange world in RC if you're doing it on a little bit of a different level than most.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it takes a little different. RC, to 99% of the people out there listening to this probably, RC is completely different for me, honestly, than it is for you.
Of course.
But in the same breath, it's absolutely not. Because every time I get a chance to work on a car or drive a car, whatever it is, even like this, sit and talk about cars, dude, I am in heaven. Like, there's nothing else, honestly, I want to do. I love it. It's so fun to me, and I've never, ever grown tired of it. It's always been that, and, you know, it's just my thing. And so drag racing is one of the things I've loved the most. My dad and I did it for real for a long time, and so it's always been something pretty close to my heart. And so with the drag racing thing, I know showing it off and all that is good, and so that's when I kind of thought about, hey, you know, what are different ways? If you don't have a track, how are you going to race? Like you got to kind of give it to people, you know, and show them what they can do, because people aren't going to really try to search it out, you know. And so that's when we came up with the idea for the NPRC, the no prep thing, you know.
Right.
We thought, okay, I mean, I love the Trexas Slash because it's the most versatile RC car ever made. I mean, you can do
pretty much.
Yeah, you can race that thing everywhere. I mean, I don't know what you can't do with it, really. That's a shorter list. I've seen them on the water like a boat. So, yeah you can do it all. There's nothing it can't do. So, we kind of talked about it, and we'd seen some guys sort of doing this thing, you know, the same type of thing with them. We thought, let's turn them into drag cars. You know, Parma had a few bodies out. Let's turn these things into drag cars, and I think it would be awesome. You know, make a simple class, 2 cells, put rubber tires on it, so that's the great equalizer, you know. And then let them put any motor, any speed control, boost. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. This is drag racing, and drag racing should always have a large portion of freedom behind it to allow you to be creative and do your own thing. That's the whole fun of it, really. Yeah. And so that was kind of the idea, and it kind of came to blossom actually in a private group of about 4 guys that I hang with, Matt being one of them, on Facebook. And I kind of came up with this idea, and I made a post about it, and then didn't really think much about it after I put a bunch of rules and all that and said, here it is. This is what I think would be really cool to do if you got a couple guys and you guys want a parking lot race, and it'll be super competitive, and you'll have a great time, and it's easy, and everybody can do it. Everybody can build this. Everybody can run this. It's not too fast. All the things, you know, all the things. And so we threw that out there, and like within a week or two, one of the guys in our group comes and says, hey, man, I think we should start a page because a lot of people are asking me about it, and let's just kind of start a page and put it on there. I'm like, all right, do it, man. So he throws up a page for this NPRC, and, I mean, within a few months, we had 20 different groups or chapters, as we call them, all across the U.S., racing nearly every weekend, and they're still doing it. I mean, it's exploded. It's been the craziest thing ever. And now you have J Concepts making body. You have all these different people doing stuff. So Proline made bodies. So yeah, man, drag racing. Yeehaw! Get on the train.
Hey, you woke up. I finally got you to wake up. We talked about drag racing.
Talking about racing. See,
there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. And so yeah, I invite people to go check it out because there are ways to race cheaply. I mean, a Slash with all you do is you just put like banded arms on there. I actually run a older Associated SC10, you know, like a short course truck, and I just put the B4 rear arms on it to narrow it up. So you want a drag car to be kind of narrow, and so you just put like whatever short course trucks out there. Normally they have a buggy, at the same time. I don't know of any companies that don't come out with 2 of them at some point. And so all you want to do is take the arms off it because when they make molds, they only want to make molds for one thing. They don't want to make 3 different molds.
No, molds are expensive.
Yeah, they make one mold so they can use the same parts back and forth, and that's it. And so that's it. So all the stuff lines up, all the things the same. Just get yourself some shorter arms so you can narrow up the car. And dude, you could be drag racing. And then if you really get it together and you guys want a track, or you go to a track, or you have a track near you, then you can step into like the pro stock cars and the other cars. Those are more what I consider a professional level, RC drag car.
Oh yeah, and those that you have, I mean, they're so badass, man. The paint jobs on them and whatnot. Oh, I just want to get one of them just to put on my shelf.
Yeah,
because they look so cool.
People do that. Yeah. That's actually how Matt got his first one. Is he just convinced himself he needed to have the body, and I think I bought him and sent him a body just to get him going.
I believe you did. I remember on your podcast you said that.
No, did I do that? I thought I did. I'm such an ass. Look at me.
You're a good guy, man. You forget what you done.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But how is the resurgence of drag racing? I mean, you said it's growing a lot. Is it just? I mean, I was looking at some of your videos, man. You're at it every weekend, mostly. How many people do you get to one of these events, roughly?
Well, I'll tell you where it's honestly grown is the no prep side. The guys who are doing it in the street and parking lots, and they're either the 2-cell NPRC, street outlaw, we call them, kind of cars, where they're 2-cell rubber tire, that car, the short course thing. Or they're 8-scale cars. And these guys run big 8-scale 4-wheel drive cars. They run 4 to 6 batteries normally, or 4 to 6 cells. And around, like a 2200 kV motor, somewhere in that range. And they are hella fast. Yeah. They're ridiculous fast. That part of the drag racing has grown faster than you can even keep track of it. As far as prep track drag racing goes, I don't know that it's really seen the increase in growth. One track in Texas, where the RCDRL has their home track in Texas, they have been at it for several years now, and they've grown a pretty good crop of people out there. I think they've got a good 60 to 70 actual people that show up, and race. Most guys run a couple of classes, so it's all you can never really go by the how many entries did you have, because it's that's not really true. And so I guess like off-road, huh? People run multiple classes.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I would like to know the actual number, like how many actual.
It's not like when people say it was 700 entries at Silver State, there was maybe 275, maybe.
Right,
people.
And that's kind of how I would expect it too. So, that's kind of how. And drag racing's the exact same way. Yeah, you tend to run a couple of different classes at least.
People just say that, 700 entries. Well, you had 275 people. Obviously it's more people there because people like their girlfriends, families, stuff like that. But
sure, Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean it's just hype. But yeah,
it's all good.
Same thing in drag racing. So they do pretty good. They're probably one of the more popular regular running tracks. I'm not sure though, because I know of a lot of other tracks up north. There's one in Chicago that the city actually put in this park, and it's a really nice track, and there's like no reason why they don't run all the time. Mm-hmm. So they may run all the time up there for all I know. We have 2 out here in Southern California, one in Riverside up near Rancho Cucamonga, and then another one that's in Lake Elsinore, it's like about 4 miles from my house, and 3 of that is just for me to get off the hill.
Yeah.
So it's so close to it. You can almost see my house from the track. It's glorious.
Yes.
I've never raced with a track so close. In 30 plus years of RC racing, I've always had to drive, it seems like 45, 50 minutes at least. So I'm in heaven right now.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like I said, just looking at, like you said, when J Concepts and Proline and these guys are making these bodies for these cars and whatnot, it's definitely growing. It's growing at a fast rate too. And I've been watching it over the last few years, so it's awesome. Maybe I'll have to get one. I don't know. Nobody really does that here, so maybe it's just something I can do for fun if I ever come back to America. So it should be good. Quick question: how about Nitro drag racing? I know you're not big on that. I don't know if you've ever done it. Have you?
Yes.
Okay. Would you do it again? Because like I have a saying, it's called Nitro is the glory, because I love Nitro 8-scale buggy racing. But I'll be honest, like electric is just so much faster, like when it comes to this type of stuff.
Right, and that is the major issue with it in drag racing. Is drag racing obviously is based on faster.
Yeah.
You know, they're at least out here in California. There's a core group of about 8 or 10 guys that all run like Nitro rails and stuff. They've been doing it since I've been doing it. Like they've been around forever. They're super cool. They're fun to watch. They're loud. They go by. They're not as fast. So, you know, you have to take that on. But I do know it's kind of weird. Drag racing is different on the West Coast and the East Coast. We have different styles, and I guess other racing might be that way too. But on the East Coast, you tend to have a lot more Nitro cars, a lot more Nitro funny cars, and pro stocks and pro mods and stuff like that. A lot of door slammer kind of cars are called. But yeah, it's out here in California. Not too many. It's mostly electric. And when you go to any big races across the U.S., you know, gas is normally, or nitro is normally kind of like an exhibition class. There usually isn't that many people.
Yeah, I've even seen quarter scale gasoline ones on YouTube, which I think is pretty cool. You actually had he's a good friend of mine. He's from Florida. He's crazy. He's a good guy. Kenneth Pope. You had him on your podcast, and when he saw that you was coming on, he was like, yeah, I forget what they call themselves, but he tells me about his nitro his drag racing all the time. He says North Florida Outlaws. That's what it is. That's what they call themselves. Yeah, we went to the Nationals. Ken is he races JQ. He drives a JQ car. He's a avid supporter of JQ Racing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Excited about drag racing. I'm gonna really start following it a little bit more. And, you know, I do that through you, vicariously through you. So I thank you for that.
All you do is follow me. I mean, you follow me, you're going to get a dose of it, I promise.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. And like I said, I just love your stuff because we still got more. We got a lot to talk about. I think this is going to be a long podcast. Already people said, people complained. Not complained. People said, you ever thought about doing a short podcast? I said, man, we have too much to talk about.
I know. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
We've rarely ever had a show under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do it.
I went on a podcast the other day for some guys up in the Pacific Northwest. Great bunch of guys. They invited me on, and I talked for 3 hours. So, and it was like, you know, just my introduction was an hour, like my life story. So it's all good. All right. So this is in the early 90s. I also see one of your accomplishments was that you actually finished 5th in the 1992 12 scale worlds in Japan. That's pretty cool. You got to go to Japan and race.
Yeah. That was a pretty cool experience. I mean, I was a nobody, so I was just going along.
Yeah, but hey, man, RC's awesome. You got to travel to Japan and do it.
Yeah, it changed things. That was kind of the first. I had just started traveling a bit. I was working for McDonnell Douglas, and they built jetliner, airplanes. So working there, you got an unbelievable discount on tickets. Unbelievable. I mean, they may as well just give them to you for free, like that kind of a discount.
Okay.
And so I started traveling. I thought, well, I really like RC, and why not go and test yourself and go places? It sounds like a good time. And back then, we didn't have internet, so you didn't even know who you were going to show up and deal with. Right. You just kind of got there, and whatever happened. It was completely different. I forget about some of that. It was a little crazy. So yeah, I mean, I thought about it, and I thought, I'm driving well, and at the time I was driving for Novak. I think Charlie went with me, if I remember right. Shawenka. Yeah, and so went and drove really well. Yes, and that was about as good as I could do.
You finished in the A main 5th at a Worlds. That's not like something to just scoff at, so
no, I was young and I had good reactions back then.
That's awesome.
That's a long time ago, man.
Yeah, well, I was still in high school then. I was actually getting ready to graduate, so 19. Yeah, well, no, I was still in high school. Sorry, that was 1992. 95, I graduated. We graduated at 16 in Bermuda. So then, around 1994, you quit racing on all levels. What happened? What made you do that?
I got married.
Okay.
And I don't remember what happened. I think I just got married, and having someone around that would let you touch their stuff seemed like a better thing to do than cars at the time. So I mean, I was a fat kid when I grew up, so
That's all right, man. Fat boy, I'm fat.
Yeah, right. You relate.
They love me. I love them. They love me. That's how I look.
Yeah, I was too good of a boy. I was trying to, learn stuff and be a good boy. But yeah, basically got married, bought a house, the normal kind of stuff, And so I just sort of put everything away for a while. Actually, when I met my wife, at the time I had an apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment. One of the bedrooms was just an RC shop. Is all it was. It was, dude. I was such a single guy. I had 2 recliners in front of the biggest tube TV you could buy, which I think was all of 20 inches or something. It was a monster. It must have weighed 500 pounds, and that was it in the living room. There was nothing else in my living room besides those 3 things: a television and 2 leather recliners. And I had a bedroom to sleep in, of course. And then I had this one bedroom that was it had 3 big benches in there and all RC stuff. That was it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hardcore. That was my life. And then I met her, and then we moved into a real place, and everything got put in boxes, and it didn't really come back out for a while.
What was you doing in the meantime? Because you took a lot of time off until early 2007. So what did you do? That's 13 years.
Well, in between there, I actually did do some stuff. I did helicopters for a while. I got really into them.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. That, I'll tell you, if you've never done them, it's to me, it's by far the most challenging thing in RC to do. The nose in, nose out, inverted, and then learning tricks on it. And I got pretty good. I did a few competitions, but I still would wreck them every once in a while.
Are you seeing what guys are doing now?
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I could do maybe 10%, that, and at the time I was pretty decent. Like I could fly all around, no problem. I could, tornadoes I could do, and there was things I could do, but yeah, these guys now are incredible. But the equipment's incredible too. The servos, the radios are so
much better, and the electric and whatnot. I actually a friend of mine's named James Van Hook. He's out of Georgia, and he's good. And he flies goblins and stuff like that. And it's a guy, Bert Kramer, who has BK servos. I met him last year, and I watched this guy fly, and I was like mouth open, like, wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and when I was doing it, right when I got out of it, electric was just starting to come in. There were only little tiny motors and stuff. No one had made anything big yet. So we were still all running nitros. I was running 90 size nitros, copters. And so it's a completely different thing. The electric must be so fun now because it has so much power, and it's so clean and effectively quick. Nitro is not like that when you're doing stuff with a helicopter. But helicopters for a little while.
Did you do some boats at this time as well?
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I drifted off into other stuff, I guess.
What was you doing boat wise? Like oval
I
racing?
did some oval. Yeah, I did some like big oval boat racing. That was okay, but even then, electric was kind of new, and so getting it to last for 4 minutes or 6, whatever they were, was hard. You would just cook stuff, and this was right before brushless came in too. We were still running brushed, and so I was just cooking commutators down to the core.
Yeah.
And then that's when brushless started coming in, because that's when we started seeing it right in the helicopters, little motors in that, and the same in boats. And so I dug in with that and did a couple quick little records, like 1 and 2 cell records of like 60 mile an hour or something like that.
I was boats is real big in Bermuda. That's what I used to watch a lot of when I was young. RC boats. My neighbor had one. I used to race them, but mostly gasoline. But I would love to get another one. But I actually watched a video this week or last week from Bill Oxidine. He has, I think he's on the East Coast. He produces boats and all that stuff.
No, he's right here by me in that boat. I know the boat you're talking about.
Oh, is it? He is in Cali. Okay, I didn't realize that.
That's Todd Sotero.
That cat. Oh my Jesus.
Yeah, that's completely stock.
That's insane.
Right. Yeah. 109 mile an hour right out of the box.
Wow. Yeah. If I do get one, I get myself an electric one and just go out there and have some fun. And just pretty cool. So I like to say this. I'm not trying to pry, but what was you doing? Because you did work in wrestling for a little bit as well, right?
Oh, jeez, dude.
I listened to your podcast. So.
Yeah, say, man, where did I write? I know I didn't write that down anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always been a big pro wrestling, quote unquote, fan.
Yeah, I am too.
Like Hogan style, wrestling, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I've always been one. It's always been a thing with me. I've always enjoyed it. I've always had friends that we've been into it. We've gone to shows and we would watch everything, all the time. And then I got into I've done Jiu Jitsu for a long time, way before it was before anybody even really talked about it.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, a long time, and so I kind of got hooked in with some guys that started doing pro wrestling, and I came down with them one time and watched them do it and messed around a little bit, and I liked it. It was fun. If you did it right and you did it with the right guy, you didn't really get hurt, and you kind of got to be the star you saw on TV, right? Like you could be whatever you wanted to be. And so so I did it for a little while. I mean, only a few matches. They could be on YouTube, but I won't admit to anything.
What was your name?
I went by a couple. The one that might be on there was the Intimidator.
No way. I'm gonna go search for that after this.
I mean, good luck to you, but dude, if you find it, please God, don't post it.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I did that. I did the most fun was for a while. I was like a manager of a couple guys, and so that was really fun because you get involved, but you're really not in the ring. Getting the crap beat out of you every night. Or not every night, every other week or so, we would do a show. But they're fun. They were little shows, and I don't know, a little part of me.
That's awesome.
The carnival part of me, That's why I think I talk about this on RC because that's why you got to understand characters and you got to understand how they work and how the fans have to emotionally connect with your character, either positive or negatively. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But you have to figure out how to make them connect with you. Yeah. And if you do that, all of a sudden you have fans and you have something people want to see and listen and watch and be a part of and interact with and so
we definitely need more of that in RC.
Yeah, that's kind of where I learned that, I think. I kind of always had that, I guess, in me a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I was a kid who took, drama and things like that. I thought that stuff was all really fun.
Yeah. I tell Joseph all the time, I say, you're probably the most popular guy in RC. I said, why? Because people love you, but they also love to hate you because you're like the heel. But,
that's right.
But as long as they're still talking about you, so...
Hey, popular doesn't mean... just they like you.
Yeah.
Pop just means people all know you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's really it's not. I mean, I have a hard time saying it's a bad thing to have a mix. I think you should. I think when you're two on one side or the other, they all love you or they all hate you. Then you get into some troubles.
Yeah.
Because if they all love you, you have too much to uphold.
Yep.
And if people hate you, you're barely hanging on. So if you play somewhere in the middle, you're good to go.
Yeah, I think a lot of it with Joseph, I don't know. It's I think it's 75-25, hate and love. Who knows?
I was hoping he would be on here too.
No, he's back in Finland, and because he's been living in the Philippines, so he was 12 hours ahead. So it was easier to do things. So this would have been his morning because it's 10 o'clock here. So he's 12 hours ahead of me. But now he's 7 hours, so it's 3 o'clock in the morning, some hour there. So.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, I know you. I think you two would have. I think a great battle of wits would have happened. That would have been awesome. The battle of words, because he's pretty quick-witted, and you are too. So
maybe. I don't know what he'd have to pick on about me, but I'm sure he'll try.
That's Joseph. That's Joseph. It's the hardest job I've ever had, and I've been a prison officer, a firefighter, you name it.
Oh my gosh.
So. I have this saying, I say you can leave RC, but it never leaves you. So what drew you back in 2007 to come back into RC?
Oh, well, I was actually in the garage cleaning it out. I thought, you know what, the Saturday I'm going to go through a bunch of old boxes and dump some crap, you know? And the very first box, I not kid you, the very highest box, I crawl up the ladder, I pull down this box, I look inside of it, and it's got a whole bunch of RC drag racing stuff. My cars are in there, like 2 of the cars are in there, complete. Like I took them off the track, and I'm sure they were, you know, in that extra bedroom I had, and then when I packed it, I just took them off. Like they had come off the track and basically went into a box and sat there for years. And I sat there and stared at them and thought, "Oh, these are awesome," you know. and at that point we had the internet, so I jumped right on there and Googled RC drag racing, and bing, comes up with the group that we used to drag race. They raced out at a new place out in Riverside or Rancho Cucamonga, one of those places. And so they were racing. I went out like that Saturday and raced with them. And this was the craziest part, by far the craziest part, because I'd never run a brushless motor or lipos in a drag car or anything, because I had kind of, you know, checked out from it all. And so I talked to a guy, and he tells me, you need to get this Castle 7700 brushless motor and speed control combo, and you need to get this, what was the pack he told me? I think it was like a Thunder Power 2-cell pack. Or three cell pack, a Thunder Power 3-cell pack. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I go online, and when I search for Thunder Power, I find max amps. This is how this starts too. And so I read their thing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy this one. Why not? They know what they're doing, I guess. And so I buy a 3-cell pack from them. I go to Castle and I buy the 7700. I stuff them in this old ass 1990s dragster, and it's 2007 or something. And I show up out here, and I put it down, and within like 3 runs, it goes faster than the national record.
No way. You was like, I'm back.
Yeah. All I thought was all this power didn't matter. You got to have a good car. Yeah. Like, it's all about a good car. Yeah. And this car came off the track 20 years ago, and it was awesome, or 10, whatever it was. And it's still awesome. Like, a car that works. Yeah. I don't care what racing you do, you know?
Did you stay in touch with the people that you met in the industry in your hiatus at all?
A couple of them I probably did. A couple of them, like Charlie, I've always been friends with him. You know, there's been a few guys, but mostly guys way behind all the scenes. You know, right? Nobody knows.
Got you. So now you're hooked again, and I guess this is the next stage of your RC career, and you start on speed runs. How did that come about?
Well, it came about through drag racing, through starting drag racing again. Actually, the first day I was out there, a fellow walked up to me by the name of Nick Case, and he walks up and he says, "Are you Tim Smith?" I say, "Yeah." He goes, "Dude, I saw you in 1990 or 91, whatever it was, at the velodrome, go 70 plus mile an hour for 3 laps until your cat blew." For the astute listener, we did cover that story.
Yes.
And so look how good I'm weaving this together for you, baby. And so I said, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "Dude, that inspired me. That run got me to do speed run racing." Wow, well, that's cool. I don't know who you are, dude, but you seem cool enough for me. All right. And he said, "Hey, man, I'm doing a speed run in North Carolina at Rockingham on the drag strip. Could you come? Would you think about coming out and, doing a run?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I don't have a car. I guess I could just put together a dragster, but yeah, let me see what I can do." And so I had a few sponsors. I had Novak, and Max Amps, I think, was actually sponsoring me or close to it at that point. And somebody else, I don't remember who. But they all said, "Yeah, you should go." And you know how that works. Yep. Next thing you know, you get a ticket, and off you go. And so I went, and I ran. I ended up getting the 2-cell record at I think about 86 miles an hour, if I remember right. God, this was a long time ago. Don't even ask me what year. You might know, but I don't remember it anymore.
No, I just got 2009. You had 119 miles an hour in 2-wheel drive stock class.
Yeah, so it was about 3 or 4 years before that when this started. And so I went there, did that, and it was really fun and successful. And that's when Nick went 166. It was the first time he brought that crazy orange car of his out, and went so damn fast. And so we came back from that, Nick and I. And actually, that, you know how it is after races. You always all meet up, a little crew of you meet up somewhere and eat, and you all sit together. And this is what happened. And after the speed run, a few of us, Sean Palmer, who used to be with, who was he with? He was an industry guy. Oh, he was with a company. I can't remember who they were. But Sean Palmer, a guy named Gary, Nick, me. And that might have been it. We all sat around drinking and talking and said, we should put together a speedrun organization and actually put these events on and do this. Stupid talk when you're not thinking. And so we came back from North Carolina and we did just that. We opened a website and, blah, 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 blah. And the ISC was born, the International Speed Challenge. And so we did that for a couple of years and we ran several events. And I think like the next year I went 101 on 2-cell, which was kind of the first 2-cell car to break 100 miles an hour. And then the next year I figured out a few things and went 119. I stepped up my game slightly. And then like 3 days after setting that record, I was riding a motorcycle home from work and got hit on the freeway and then run over by another car. And so I did not walk for right at a year. And life takes a drastic change.
Oh yeah, we actually share something. I got in a motorcycle accident and it changed my whole life as well. So
yeah, and that's kind of where the whole Tim Smith racing thing kind of bloomed. I mean, I was just a guy doing my thing. I had some sponsors and all that, but I was just like the other 100% of RC guys out there who nobody really knows who you are than a few guys at your local track. You know what I mean? Right. And so I laid in bed wondering when and if I would ever walk again, and thought, okay, well, when I do RC again, this will be my motivator. When I do it again and start racing again, and I set a certain drag race that I'm like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna walk at that race. I'm gonna walk my car up the line and I'm gonna race. I thought, okay, then I want to do it differently. Like I love it and I want to put effort into it, but I want to do it differently, and I want to show what I do, and I want to make it into something. Like my real thing was this, and this might sound corny or whatever, but I love RC so much, and all I thought was, as much as this sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, has given me with friends and good times and competition and having to think and learn and all that, I want to leave RC at some point and know that I left an impression.
Yes. That
there was something I did here that meant something to the whole big picture. I can't change much, but I would love to know that RC was better because I was here. There was something I helped do that did something to move it forward for other people to enjoy. And that was kind of my thought. And I thought, okay, so I learned HTML. I built a website. I think we were still at the MySpace phase. I don't think Facebook had even started. Maybe it had.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I have an account from back in 2009.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it was. So I started those things and started learning them.
Yeah.
And I started, taking photos of my stuff and putting photos up and learning when do photos, what kind of photos do people like to see, what don't they like to see, when do they like to see them, what do they want from me, what can I give them, and I just started becoming a media producer of what I do.
Tim Smith Racing was born. The character Tim Smith was born.
Yeah, and that was it, and me, and so people started getting little pieces of me in videos and stuff like that. I would say that probably the big push as far as a lot of things went had to have been when we started the show, because you get like a dose when you're here with me, hearing me, you get a whole different thing than just seeing a picture or whatever. You know what I mean? You get it all. So, I think people could easily sense the passion and the genuine love I have for what I do. None of this is bullshit to me. Like, I take it seriously. And I also thought too, if I'm going to do and put this much effort, hey man, I want to do it. I want to see what I can get out of it too.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Can I make money out of this? Can this turn into something more than just a hobby? I'm willing to do a lot for it. So let's see what I can get back, and let's be really smart about what we do and do the best we can. And I mean, here it is today. And I think it's proof it all pretty much worked pretty well.
It's
I've been making a steady, controlled. Every month I get paid. I know what I'm going to get paid. There's nothing like that, and it's been going on for many years. And it's. I mean, I know my stuff is okay. I'm not Ryan Mayfield. I'm not those guys. I know that. I understand that. And I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. I mean, in drag racing, I'll beat your ass. I don't care who you are. But I'm not those other guys, and that's cool. My deal is different. My deal is RC as a whole. I love all of RC. There's nothing in RC that I don't like to do, really. And so I'm about RC. And if you're about RC, then you're kind of into my deal, you know? So
it's really funny because I remember listening to your podcast, and you always talk about making a character. Making a character, and RC needs more characters. So I kind of like my character is Lefty the Great, but it's also me. You know what I mean? But it's like my alter ego. I'm Keenan, but I'm also Lefty the Great. Well, how that came about is because obviously my left arm is paralyzed from my accident. But it's also one of the reasons I'm here talking to you right now. So Greg Degani was just like fascinated with my arm from the first day he met me, and he lifts it up and he tells me to do, because he's teasing me. And then he goes, well, we're going to call you Lefty from now on. And I was like, well, to deal with Joseph, I have to be great. And so and I just, that was born, and that's kind of what I ran with when I started the podcasting. And well, it kind of started before that, like with as a team manager and whatnot. But I think every character is actually a reflection of the person as well. So I think this is, while it is Tim Smith, the character, it's also Tim Smith, Oh,
absolutely, yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, if you've listened to my show, I don't know how long you've listened, or if you listen to all of them or what, but yeah, if you listen to it, you know, and you and I have spoken outside of the show, and there's not a lot of difference. I mean, yeah, of course, on the show or whatever, and I have to. It's funny to have to tell people this, but I've had to tell people this before, and just write it this plainly, like, hey, this is an entertainment show. I do this show as entertainment to you, like don't take everything that comes spewing out of my mouth. I mean, I've had people generally like write me and be like, hey man, I just see you get really stressed out, and no, I mean, it's the show. Like, it's I'm not saying I'm bullshitting you that somebody didn't piss me off, because hey man, we all know they do, but I don't walk around my house ranting like a lunatic. I drop dead. Yeah. So yeah, there is some of it that is that. But.
Yeah, but it's I mean, I'm generally like, my passion now is like talking. I really found that I like to talk about RC just as much as I like to do it. But I love, like you, I love all forms of RC, all forms. So it's all good. And then I just I look at you and I see your passion as well, and I was like, man, I like what he's doing. And I tell this to all these young racers now: build your brand. Build you as a brand. Like, if you want to do this, like, there's kids out there like Max. Max is one of our young kids that races. I'm on him constantly. I'm like, people like you. You're smart. You know about setup. You know all about this. Now you're out of school. This is your year. Like, you're gonna go into RC full time. Build your brand, and I'm on him daily about it. And I'm like kicking him in his ass to do it, because I believe that is important. There are only a few people in our industry, in my side of the industry, that do it. David Ronafalk's a good one. Even Joseph's good at it. Adam Drake has built his brand. So all the other guys are just like, they're not really into the social media side of it. So I'm hoping this new generation of kids coming up that are racing will be. So that's my hope.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I've had several opportunities to let's say, bring people in under my wing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very. This sounds so yucky when I say it like this, but I mean, it's like this is no different than going out and practicing with your car and practicing a certain corner and entry and an exit and whatever it is. You know, I took this task on, which every task in my life I take on the same way. I took this task of growing my brand, like you said, of RC very seriously and very methodically thought about it and figured out, calculated how and what, getting into magazines and doing things that I knew would help grow it. And so, you have to do that, but I've taken people in because I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how to go about this task. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people can't do it. They just for whatever reason can't wrap their heads around it, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's just plain laziness. I think they just don't. I don't know. You have to have a weird sense of what people want out. Even when I'm doing the show, and I'm sure you the same way, when I'm going on about something, I just get a sense of when I feel like, hey, that's enough. Like, people don't want to hear any more of this, or they want more of that, or whatever it is. I think you just have that. Now, you could probably learn it, but I think you just kind of have that in you.
Yes.
And that's the lacking part. What I'm saying is I don't think everybody can be.
That's true.
JQ or whoever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it definitely takes talent, man. No, we kind of went off on tangent, but that's cool because this is what it's all about. It's a conversation. Speed. Let's talk some more about speed runs because I know you've been after the elusive 200 mile per hour on it's actually on any type of two-wheel drive electric car.
Yeah. You
have a nemesis in this, don't you?
Oh yeah. Nick Case.
Oh, Nick is now your nemesis.
The same guy drug me in. Yeah, there's some people in your life, and everybody has probably experienced. Some people in your life you're abrasive with each other. You cannot seem to find a neutral ground. What they say bothers you, and apparently what you say bothers them. And Nick and I seem to be, at least we did, live in that world.
Okay.
And it was always a strain. A few things happened between us, and our relationship was very much soured. He sort of dumped the whole group we were on and left us hanging. It was these kinds of things, happen. And so you just with people.
Yeah.
And so, he's a good villain in my story. And and so he was going fast. Now, when I was laying in my bed, not walking for a year, when I thought about all this, I thought, okay, some of the part I was calculating, I was like, okay, I've gone 119 miles an hour with 2 cells. And that was in 2010, I think. That is god-awful fast. I mean, it's earth-shakingly fast for a 2-cell car. A 2-cell Novak 3.5 ballistic motor on a Novak, whatever the heck speed control I had at the time. I don't know what the hell it was called. Whatever they sold. Stock. That's all it was. Max amp, 6500, 2-cell pack. Hard case on top of that. But and so I did that, and I thought, man, that's such an incredible achievement. But the truth was, as I laid in that bed, nobody really cared, because if someone goes 160, no one cares that you were able to do 119 on 2 cells, and it took him 8 or whatever to go just a few more mile an hour, it seems. So that's just how the game works. Okay. That's fine. I won't fight the system. So I realized that laying there and thought, okay, then I have to go out after his record. That's all there is to it. And if he's going to be a jackass and I'm not going to like him, we're going to have a good time with this. And so off I went. And so once I was walking again and racing and doing all that was the goal. So I built a car. I went out. He had the record at 166, the Guinness World Record. I went out and went 168. In your face, mother effer. And so And so I think I had it for all of maybe a weekend or two.
Yeah.
And then he went out and went like 170, I think, or 171, like, son of a bitch. And so from that point, it was on.
Yeah.
Right? It was on. And we knew, we never talked. We never communicated. We never acknowledged each other. But there was a battle going on.
Yeah.
And it was intense. And it was so intense that I actually got contacted at that time by... RC Car Action Magazine had a deal working with some television station, and they wanted to do a deal. They wanted to do a little show where it was Nick and I, and the guy comes to me and pitches. This is the idea. Pitches to me. He goes, "Okay, we bring you both into an octagon, right? Because that was when bare knuckles and all that was just getting rolling good, you know." And he's like, "We bring you both into an octagon, and you sit across from each other, and you debate on." You know, whose car's better? Because my car, Nick drives a 4-wheel drive, stretched out, you know, a touring car, basically.
Right.
I drive a 2-wheel drive, direct drive, no diff, no nothing, dragster chassis, essentially. A real 2-wheel drive car. So we have completely different philosophies on it. His car's 1,000 times easier to drive than mine, but mine ultimately is faster because there's less moving parts in the drivetrain.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. This is what they want. So they want us to go at it, right? And then after that, we both go out to Fontana drag strip, and we get to make like 3 or 5, whatever runs, and whoever's the fastest is the king of speed. Dun dun! The king of speed! And I'm like, that is the best. Can I say the F word?
You can.
Okay, that's the best fucking idea I've ever heard. I love it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I told him this. I go, look, I love it. I'm in 100%. I don't care what you want me to do. I love it. If you can put RC on TV, I will wear a chicken suit. I don't care. I'll help make it happen because I know there's eyes out there that have never seen it. They're going to see it and fall in love with it. Yay,
Yes.
yay, yay. That's a win. And so I said, but your problem is Nick will never, ever, ever in a million years do it. Why? I go, because he will not sit down across from me. Nick's not a stupid guy. Please don't get me wrong. But he is not me.
Right.
And you do not want to sit across from a guy like me if you're just not that kind of guy.
Got you.
That has the ability to go toe to toe.
Yes. A battle of wits. Yeah.
Just like you and me and JQ, like we were saying, you know. And it's nothing against Nick. I mean, he is a smart guy. He's a very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
I know what he does for a living. He's a very, very intelligent guy. I mean, not as smart as me, but he's a very smart guy. Dude, come on, I went to MIT. Come on.
Really? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, he's not that smart.
Yeah.
He's smart though.
You're pretty smart.
But I knew he would never do it. And I told the guy, I go, if you can come up with another way to make it happen, he might do it. I go, but I don't think he'll do it for that reason. I go, and the second reason is I had been in seclusion with my car after he did the 70 run, you know, the 170 run. And I heard through other people that he thought I had 180 already in the bag. Like I already had it. And so his idea was that basically they were going to do a TV show that was just going to embarrass him because I was going to come out there and stomp the living shit out of him, you know? And he was like, why do I want to do that? Granted, I agree, but that wasn't what the case was. I had no idea if I could even beat him or not. I had no idea.
Such a great chance, though. Such an awesome opportunity to get RC in front of a lot of people.
Yes, I know. Why not?
Yeah.
So it never happened, and that was that. Ultimately, he ended up running. He ended up breaking 200 miles an hour, getting there first. That was the goal. I can tell you the details of that and why I don't really. I have a little bit of. I take a little issue with it.
Right.
When we run these, you know, I have the same. Nick and I both own the same timing clocks. TrackMate makes a optical timing trap. So basically, you set clocks 20 foot apart and all that. Now, to set a Guinness record, you have to have overlapping double clocks, which I have and Nick's has. And to set a Guinness record legally, you have to be within 1% on both clocks.
Okay.
To to set a Guinness record, also, you have to drive your car down, turn around, and drive it back to you and stop it to show you have full remote control over the vehicle.
Right.
Now, every time I've done a Guinness attempt, I've had the luxury of having Guinness come out.
Okay.
You can do a process where you shoot video and you send it in and do that. So you kind of self-verify.
Right.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
And
Gotcha.
so that's how Nick went to, there's a few things. Nick went to Utah, to a runway in Utah. I went to the same runway. I know what it is. It's downhill. It's at about 3,000 or 4,000 foot of elevation. I forget which it is. And at higher elevation, your car picks up about 15 to 20% more speed.
Really? But less air resistance, yeah.
Yes, thinner air. So you go much faster. If you do, let's say if you do 190 down here, you would do probably 205 up there.
Okay.
Maybe 210, actually.
So it should be at sea level then. That's what you're saying.
Technically, yes, there should be an offset, but that's just not how records tend to work. That's just how it is. So that's fine, whatever. So the other thing is, like I said, you have to show that you can drive and steer the car and all that. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. It's just what I heard. So maybe I shouldn't even say it. But I had been told that his car ended up having essentially a waypoint system in it, like a for a quadcopter. So you just lay out waypoints down the center of the runway, and you essentially let the car just
drive itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a big help, because
that's
for those
not fair.
For those of you who don't know, we set these cars down about 1,200 feet away, which that's a quarter mile to you and me, kids. So I set these cars down a quarter mile away from me. So when you're driving it for the first few hundred feet, it's really hard to even know if it's moving.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. The amount of distance you need to really get up to speed is really become the limiting factor in how fast you can go.
Okay.
You just can't get the car far enough away. So a waypoint system, it's brilliant because you eliminate that problem. Now you could just deal with trying to go fast.
Yeah.
The speed is out there. You can buy over the counter to go 200 miles an hour. It's the millions of integral parts that have to survive that incredible amount of speed and RPM for a run. So Nick goes out. He makes a run. He runs 202 in his second clock, and 197 or 198 in his first clock. So 198 should be the record, but that's not how he didn't. I'm guessing he didn't submit the 198 clock. He only submitted the 202. I don't have any idea what he submitted.
So when you did your 198, though, you had Guinness there, or?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, my question would be to you is why didn't I know you wanted to be more? You like 2-wheel drive, traditional stuff. Why didn't you just go out and do what he done and get a 4-wheel drive car and just smash him, or you just wanted to do it your way?
I mean, I thought about that, but I mean, honestly, I think my way's better.
Okay.
I mean, I do. I think the 202 that he managed to get in the second clock, I really feel like that's about all his, at least at the time. Batteries are better now, but at the time, I really felt like that was all his car had and then some. Like that was it. And I really feel like my car is much faster. I mean, I think I'm a 220 car.
Okay.
But just haven't had the right opportunity to make it happen.
Because it also takes a lot of. This isn't like you just go out there and run. It actually takes a lot of planning. You have to I've listened to you listen to how much goes into doing one of these runs. So it's not like it takes a lot of time and planning and coordination to do it. So yeah.
I mean, at the level that like Nick or myself are at, you have to have a runway or a long drag strip shutdown. The strip itself, where it's got VHT, doesn't work very well. I know it sounds like it should, but the cars are so light and the foam tires sort of slip around on it at speed. But just clean ground is what works best.
Yeah. Are you gonna be attempting? When was the last time you done a speed run?
The last speed runs I did was probably when I did the Netflix show.
Well, we might as well lead into that too, because that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
You are. I think you did a lot for RC. Okay, first off, if people don't know, Tim was on, I think it's called the White Rabbit Project, or just the White Rabbit.
I think it's White Rabbit Project. Yeah.
Yes. I remember you talking about this, and I look forward. I don't think the series went into a second year. I'm not sure, a second season. Or
I don't think so.
I don't know why, but it had the dude Graham from what is that show?
Yeah, Mythbusters.
Yeah, from Mythbusters, and they had different. I think you was part of the first show, and it was all about you trying to break 200. And they had you in the wind tunnel. They had you doing this. You look so serious at time, and I was like, "This is so cool." Like, here we have RC on Netflix. Like, not somebody chasing a bad guy for RC car. There's like a genuine guy trying to break a record.
Yeah,
an RC.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool opportunity, and I'll tell you, to me, that opportunity really only came because of all the stuff that I had done before, all the website, the photos, all that stuff, all the social media, all the things, because they found me through that stuff. Yeah. I think they actually Googled. I've never really found the true answer, but I think they actually Googled like RC, speed run fast cars. Well, boom, 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 I popped up everywhere. Yeah. Drag racing, whatever it is. If you Google that, you'll pretty much get a photo of me somewhere in there, or at least a link to a website where you can find me and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I got an email one day from one of the production guys, and he just said, "Hey, man, is this Tim Smith? We'd like to talk to you about, helping us out with a show we're doing." So yeah, so I kind of thought, because I've gotten these before where it's like consultant stuff.
Right.
They have some mechanism they want to run, or I've done a few different little weird items like that for things, A lot of times they want cameras, or they used to want cameras on cars, and they want like a buggy or something that could support a camera and have you drive it around and get the shot for them. But yeah, stuff like that. I've done that in the past, but nothing like this. So they contact me and tells me this. He's like, "Hey, we would like to." He basically tells me, we'd like to do something with your drag racing cars. And at first it was sort of, we'd like to maybe have you race like a Lamborghini. Do you think you could beat one? And I'm like, well, fuck yeah. No doubt. I mean, unless you run us like a couple miles, then no. But from a start, like 1,000 feet, oh yeah, I'll whoop his ass. No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, how long? No doubt.
How long did it take to film that?
Man, that was a long time. Yeah, it started out with that, where they wanted to do the car thing, and then somehow it changed. I think just through me talking with them and kind of telling them my whole story and my whole deal, just like we've talked about here, and they said, and that's when they went, "Hey man, we'd like to maybe try to, you think you could do the 200 miles an hour?" And I'm like, I think I can. Like, I think I can. I don't know. I mean, I haven't done it, so I have no idea, but I think I can. I mean, that's part of my deal. I believe whether I should or not.
Yeah.
And so the next thing I know, they start calling me to take me out to different runways to look at them to see if I like. They were going to rent Pomona Drag Strip everywhere. And so as we're doing that, I tell them, well, Nick set the record on this one up in Utah. I've seen it. It's a good elevation. So they rent it. They're like, oh, perfect. That's what we want to do it then. Wherever the record is, that's where we want to go. Okay. And so, I mean, one day, dude, it was the craziest thing. I'm sitting at home, and I know they're coming. Like 2 big Ryder trucks show up in front of my house. About 8 or 10 of these crew guys all pour out. They come into my garage. They take every single thing out of my garage, empty out part of our house, and they start setting their stuff up, their lights and all these kinds of things. And yeah, it's like all my neighbors are staring at me like, what in the hell is going on in that guy's house? I mean, cameras everywhere. And then I'm standing out there and I'm talking to one of the production guys, and this car pulls up and parks, and this guy gets out and he's walking over towards us, and I look at him and I look at the production guy and I go, dude, that guy looks just like Grand Imahara from Mythbusters. He's like, because it is Grand Imahara from Mythbusters. I'm like, oh, are you shitting me? He's like, no. He's the one doing your segment with you. He'll be with you like the whole time, do everything. Like, well, that's pretty cool because I'm a fan of that show, and it was pretty cool. And I will say, Grant is a radical cool guy. Like, he is such a nice guy.
Yeah.
So
he's named Grant, not Graham, right?
yeah, Grant.
Okay, I called him Graham. I'm an idiot.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
So yeah, we came in. We shot a lot of video that day about the car. I do some carbon fiber vacuum forming of a new body for them, so they can film that. We do a bunch of stuff, and then I don't know, a week or two later, they tell me they've got me booked to be in a wind tunnel down at the university in San Diego. So I go down there, and same thing. There's cameras everywhere, and they film us doing all kinds of stuff, walking around, and they put the cars in the wind tunnels, and they have this renowned aerodynamics PhD, Lynn Brownie is his name, Dr. Lynn Brownie, and he's there, another super nice guy. And they run the car in the wind tunnel, my car the way it was, and basically point out all the terrible things about it that are wrong in the air. And you could see it in the air. It's unbelievable. I have a few slow motion videos of parts of my front end just shaking and quivering everywhere at about 140 mile an hour. And so basically this was the kind of crazy part is the PhD guy, the Dr. Lynn Browning, he, after it, he writes up a whole report on my car, all the things that he feels should be corrected in the areas and all this stuff, and gives it to me. So I have this whole thing, this whole write-up, and how fast it should go, if we can correct these things, and blah, 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 blah. So I've got a little bit of time, and so I decide, what I'm going to do? I'm gonna pour myself into this, and I'm going to take everything this guy said and try to incorporate it into a brand new car. And so my other car was essentially a regular dragster. The two front wheels stuck out on either side and had a big wing in back and, that kind of a look. So I wanted to get rid of the front wheel or all the wheels out in the air. So I ended up converting over to a single wheel. I'd used one in the past and they work really well. A single wheel where it's all covered up by the nose of the body. I lengthened the car. I made a new mold for a carbon fiber bodies, and I did all this stuff, and I made this very, very aerodynamic car. And it was all cool. We shot a bunch of videos of it. I went up to Utah to run it, and I put it on the track. I had these specially made tires by a company who I hope's not in business anymore, because they shouldn't be, but they were supposedly handmade for me and all this stuff. Every set blew apart at about 30 or 40 miles an hour. Every single set. The whole day was a complete bust. We have a whole crew and all these people in Utah. Nothing. We get nothing. I think I barely get 70 or 80 miles an hour out of the car, sliding all over the place on plastic rims. And so that went poorly. So we come back, and I dig deep into tires and tire technology and how to do better tires. And long and short is I get some made by the guy who made the tires that Nick runs. Unbeknownst to probably everyone out there, tires is the key to going fast. If you don't have a tire that will stay together, forget it.
I mean, that's in anything that it requires racing. Like, people always, I need this guy's setup. What tires are you running? Some old tires that I found in my box. Yeah, all right, there you go.
And at this kind of speed and RPM, the foam has to be glued with an unbelievable precision. It just has to be done right. And so I got the guy who made his foams. He made a set for me, several sets for me. And I went out and did a test run, an easy test run. The car went 175 right off the bat. No damage, no tire wear, no nothing. I'm like, okay, perfect. So I call up the crew. I tell them, all right. So they come out to my runway, the one I use all the time. We set all up. And they tell me, okay, what we want to do this time, is, if you don't do 200, we're just going to assume you're gonna. But if you don't do 200, then we want to do the scene where we blow your car up. What do you think about that? And I'm like, what? Really? He's like, yeah, it'll be awesome. Like old Mythbusters, reaching back to the past, how they blew everything up. We'll put you as episode 10. Your whole shot will be the closer of the series. It'll be awesome. They're just rubbing my back and kissing me and telling me all the good things. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, okay. Because I'm kind of thinking I'm going to do it anyways. So I go out. I run 175 again. I come back in. I make a change. Because you kind of got to work into it, too. You got to make a run, get the car, make sure you and the car and everybody's happy. Because those kind of speeds, anything goes wrong, it's all over. I mean, you're done. That's it. It's all over. You don't fix cars at 175 when they wreck. And so I do that. I come back. I make a change. I go back out. Runs 198. I'm like, okay. I come back in. I go, I'm fucking ready, guys. Let's do it. I know what to do, and this car will go more. Like, no doubt in my mind. So let's go do it. And they're like, you know what? The light's getting really dark right now, or starting to go down, so let's get a couple other shots, take you down to the end of the runway, and we'll set up, we'll have to do the blow-up scene just in case, because the light's getting dark, and then we'll let you do a run, and we'll film that. And if it's, over the record, then we're there, we're all good. Everybody's good. Okay. So I go down there. They fiddle fart around forever, and so it starts getting dark. So I come up, I do the blow-up scene. They blow up a car, which they blow up the wrong car that actually had stuff in it. Whatever. And so I'm like, all right, dude, let's go do the run. You know what? The light's too far gone. We're gonna go ahead and just go with the blown up car thing. Like,
so you never got to get your run. That sucks.
No, I did 198. They blew up a car, and that car, the car sat here on my shelf since then. I've not gone back.
When do you think? I mean, well, first off, you were the first guy I know to get RC on Netflix. So you done a lot for the industry right there.
And let's be honest too, 198 miles an hour in a 2-drive car is a record beyond records.
Oh, of course.
That's to it. Yeah. So, I mean, I still really want 200 though, dude. I really do.
Well, when do you think you're gonna go do another speed run?
I mean, as soon as the runway will let me back out there. I had a really good deal going with the guy that was managing it. And he's not really around now. They promoted him, and I've been struggling with getting this new guy to okay a day for me. So, I just try every once in a while, and I try not to be a pest. So I try, and then I wait a little while, and then I try again, and I wait a little while. Runways are not easy to get. Yeah, if anybody out there has the lease on one, let me know. I'll fly wherever. I don't care.
I don't even know how much something like that costs. So,
about the inch. Well, there's a few things because they have to close it down, and it's official runway. They put these big markers on either end of it so planes don't land on it. You have to have like staff out there with walkie-talkies that can talk to the tower in case something goes wrong, and they have to land a plane and all this. So you end up cashing out about $1,200 for an afternoon, and honestly, in $1,200, if I get 6 runs, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good day. So 200 bones a run. Woo-hoo! She's a pricey one.
Yeah, that's not cheap, dude. So, do you? I don't know how Guinness Records work. Do you get paid for them or?
No, okay. You don't make any money from Guinness. I have deals, set up with different places where if I get one, I get something out of that. But yeah, not directly from Guinness. They believe the promotion they give you. You have to pay them to get in there.
Really?
It's like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You essentially have to pay for it and everything.
Wow.
It's all on you. They just keep the book.
Really, that's awesome. That's great. But you do have some more Guinness Book of World Records, Guinness Records, and this is something that I'm pretty interested in because I'm just starting my scale adventure. You got into crawling and scale for a while. I don't know if you still do it, but I know you did AMSOIL Fest a couple of years ago, which I think is pretty badass. I don't even know if it still exists. And I was watching Proline by the Fire, but you have some records in that too as well, like longest distance by a single driver of an RC car. What exactly was that?
That was the 24-hour one. Panasonic had this record for longest distance in 24 hours. There was actually a couple of different records because they used different drivers throughout the 24 hours. So, and then there was also longest distance for a single driver. Like, there were 2 separate records. And the Panasonic one for longest distance was like 26 miles or something. It didn't seem very far to me. I thought in 24 hours, that seems very doable. It was done with a bunch of like these weird AA batteries or something. And they did it around a velodrome. They just kind of drove this little RC car and they followed it in a golf cart right behind it. Like they weren't more than a few inches away from it ever. And so I thought, well, that seems like a fun record to try to break. before that, I have to back up though. Before that, I'd actually set a record. What the hell was that record?
Yeah, I think you have longest distance covered by an RC car longest distance on a single battery pack.
That was it. Yeah. On a single. That was the first one. We had a place over here by where I live in the hills that someone had created a whole. It was just over a 1/4 mile long trail. Mm-hmm. Rock features and all kinds of fun stuff to deal with. And we used to go over there on Sundays and drive around it for a couple hours and come home. And the joke was all these guys would show up and we'd always have to stop 2-3 times for them to change their packs in their cars. And I never did. I would never change a battery. I would turn the truck on, drive it into where the course was, drive the whole course until we were done, drive my truck out, and then put it in my car and go home. And so, I'm a Max Amps guy. So, I gotta puff my chest out and be like, hey man, how come your battery doesn't last that long? And so it became kind of a joke. And so I thought, let's see how long could I make this thing last on this trail? Because this trail was not very easy. I know people probably think like, oh, he just drove in a flat line, No, it was pretty difficult. And so we got up early one morning, charged up my 8,000 milliamp 2-cell pack. I stuffed it in my AMSOIL SCX10, and me and about 10 or 20 of my friends all went out there, and off we went. I had a GPS on the rig and videotape. Everybody was videotaping it the whole time, and off we went. And we ran for 8 hours and like 15 minutes, I think was the number. And the truck shut off. And the funny thing was, the speed control actually locked up because I switched truck off and switched it back on after we, ended the record, and the truck came on and ran for like another 20 minutes.
No way. That's incredible.
Yeah, the poor old Novak speed control just couldn't take 8 straight hours. That was too much.
That's a lot of driving. I mean, 8 hours is long. Now you're talking about doing it in 24 hours. That's insane.
So then that was the next one. So after I did that one, which seemed fun, I thought, I wonder how far I started looking around and I saw that record for longest distance in 24 hours. And I thought, I was doing some rock racing, which is like off-road in the gnarliest, worst conditions ever. Mm-hmm. And so I was doing that and I thought, I wonder if I could run a rock race track for 24 hours straight. Like, how badass would that be? Like, that's hard on the car, and it's 24 hours. Like, everything's hard. Like, you got to deal with it all, And so I thought that was a good idea. And at that time, I was in really well with AMSOIL. They're very close. Their building was very close to me here.
Right.
And so they wanted a part of that. And so they came to me and said, hey, what do you think about taking an RTR right out of the box and doing it with that? And I go, I'll do it, but I'll be honest with you. If this thing falls to pieces, 20 hours in or something, I'm going to be pretty upset. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because I can take a truck that I think will last 24 hours. That'll have MIP drive shafts and everything on it, or I can take your RTR, which does not. And I felt like it put a lot more pressure on me that I had to be kind of flawless for 24 hours. And that's asking a lot of somebody, because, you're going to make a mistake somewhere.
How did you go to the bathroom?
There was a bush right near where this track was, and I could see the track from there, so I just walked over and whipped out and peed. I didn't have to poop all night, so I was good. I helped that part in.
So you had a completely stock AMSOIL, and it made it the whole 24 hours.
Yeah, stock AMSOIL Wraith, a blue one. I actually have it here now. When they finally closed down the building out here, they sent it to me.
Really?
On a shelf somewhere here. Yeah, once I finished the record, it went to AMSOIL, and they had it in their, in their trophy cabinet in the front for several years. Right. But yeah, I took it out of the box. We cut the zip ties. I had 3 different Max Amps packs, and we were just basically rotating, but I only used 2 because I was using 10,500 milliamp 2 cells. So I could run I thought I could run probably the pace I was running. I ran about 6 hours, if I remember right, 6 to 7 hours per pack.
Wow.
Yeah, I only had to change packs a couple of times.
That's pretty impressive for ready to run too. Very impressive.
Yeah, and so what we did was we would run, and then when the battery would go dead, or LVC would hit, basically, the speed control would shut off, I would stop, or the car would stop. a guy would run out, he'd pick the truck up, he'd walk it back 3 feet on the same line, set it down, then open the body and change it and put the battery in there. So there was never any question that we went forward with any physical movement. And we did that all night. The only thing that went wrong is at one point it was probably 2 or so in the morning, and I was pretty tired, obviously. Just standing there driving, it's unrelenting.
It is.
But I ended up getting hung in a rock, and I blew the idler gear in the transmission. And so they ended up having to go out there, me and another guy out in the dirt in the middle of the night in the cold in the desert, and drop the tranny out of the thing and change the idler gear out right then and there.
Oh, man, that sucked.
And take off again. Yeah, we lost a good hour or so, of time. But I'll tell you, when the sun came up the next morning, because I started, I think it was around 10 or 11 o'clock the day before. So when the sun came up the next morning, man, I got kind of rejuvenated, I kind of got going again. And I'm not joking to you, towards the end, when the sun had come back up, I would finish a lap, and I remember feeling to myself, thinking, I could have done that a little faster. And then off I would go again. And it's like, what is wrong with you? You have to start 24 hours. You should not be thinking about, I could probably done that faster. I could probably done that better. What in the hell? And so, I ran for 24 hours, ended up running 58 point something or other miles an hour, or miles in distance.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and then that was a record. And then I actually heard Panasonic came back and rebroke it. No way. So that's cool. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe I'll revisit it. We've talked about it. I figured I would go to a velodrome this time and I could run about 40 miles an hour, and I could probably do a few hundred miles an hour, a few hundred miles in 24 hours. And I thought, man, I want to annihilate that record if I do it again.
Yeah, you should. Did you get deep into the scale trail thing for a while, or was it just something you done on the side?
No, it was my primary thing. I think at the time we didn't have a drag strip. Our strip had gone away. You know how that works. Tracks are always an evolving thing. And so we lost our track, and so I had started getting deeper into it. I've been to 5 axial fests, and anything big I could get myself to, I would go to. Yeah. We had a really good time. I still really enjoy it. My wife and I, it's kind of the thing we used to go do. We go to Axial Fest every year. Like, she doesn't do any other RC with me at all. Back in the early days, before kids and everything, she would go with me to some oval races and hang around. But, when you're not racing a race, they're pretty darn boring. Yeah. So
I just checked, and they are having an Axial Fest again this year. Are you going to go to that?
They are having it. Now that Horizon owns, it's a little different. I will not be going this year.
Okay.
It's a little different. It's in a different location. Like where it was before, a place called Cisco Grove is a huge campground. The place it's now is actually a ski resort, and so there's no there's campground. There's no campground. There's just a parking lot. So I guess people are just going to park in the parking lot and camp. And it just seems very odd to me. Yeah. I don't know what's happened. Mm-hmm. But I have my opinions about that company when they got bought out. They really.
Yeah, I actually have to go listen to that podcast. I haven't. I want to hear what you have to say. And before the podcast, because I saw your post today, and first thing I said to you was like, Associated just won RC for the year with their new truck and their new company, and I know you're good friends with John Schultz as well. I actually talked to Brad Geck the other day. I think that's his name.
He messaged me today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I really spoke to him. He reached out. He was very, very kind, and
he's a nice dude. I actually want to get him here on the podcast, but remember I asked you a couple of weeks ago, last week, is there any decent scale trail podcast? Like, I really think I want to try and do one, eventually, but I need to learn a little bit more about it before I do. I want to at least know what I sound like.
I haven't seen any good ones at all.
Yeah, I'm shocked there isn't one out there. You know what I mean? Because there's podcasts for everything.
Man, they sound terrible. They don't know what they're doing. Nobody seems like. I listened to one the other day, and maybe people figure it out. Maybe they won't. I really don't care. But I listened to one the other day, and they had a guest on, and they actually had somebody on. I'm pretty sure has been on our show. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've been on Matt's show. But it was horrible. They didn't have any questions for him. They didn't know what to say to him. And it just was like, What are you doing? I mean, if you're going to sit down in front of a microphone, and I mean, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for entertainment? Because I don't know what else you'd be doing it for, really. And if you're going to do it, then my God, at least put in an effort.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, have some content.
Nobody's okay. And I try to tell. I mean, we did on my last show. We talked a little bit about this. Nobody has that kind of talent. Even like a Howard Stern doesn't have that kind of talent. He has notes. He has things.
Yep.
You have to know where you're going.
Yep.
And how you're gonna get there.
Yep.
Nobody has that. So don't think you're gonna just learn it one day.
No.
Dude, write some notes. Ask some questions. Figure it out. I mean,
got to.
you and me are kind of an example of that. This whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, you asked me about some stuff, and I gave you a kind of rundown of my deal. So you would know, so you would have things to ask me. I mean, it's
about bringing content, man. I mean, this is going to lead into my next part about you making a podcast. But I just wanted to finish up on the whole Element RC and all that stuff, and how I feel that's like one of the biggest moves in RC this year. And I think it's just gonna, it's gonna be awesome. Like, I'm gonna have to get me one of those. It's the biggest genre in RC, I think, in 4 wheels anyway, and it doesn't
market right now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
No, because the thing is, what really got me, or what I thought the hook was when I first kind of found it, was when I would go out on these Saturdays or these Sundays. At 7, 8 in the morning, we'd all show up in some hillside or where the heck we were going, and there would always be 15, maybe 20, guys that are probably retired there. And I thought about it, and I thought, this is perfect. They all have a little bit of extra income because, they're just hanging now. And a scale truck is something you can really screw around with and make it really detailed and cool if you want to. You don't have to have 100 different cars. You have to have 100 different sets of tires. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
You make it look as cool as you want it to look. And you can go out on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, early in the morning, get a little running in for a couple of hours, go home, to your wife and hang out and do whatever you do.
Yep.
And it seemed perfect. And I look around and you look at like an Axial Fest, although there's also the family side of it too, but it's the same excuse, We're a family. We want to do some RC. Okay, do we go do off-road? Yikes, that's going to run us a few $1,000s to really get going, if we're going to race a couple of cars and both of us are going to race and all that, But you go into scaling, I can buy an RTR for what, $350?
Yep.
$400, and we can literally be out on a trail 5 minutes from our home with people that live all around us that like to barbecue and hang out and have a good time.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I'm in. I'm down. Who isn't? Who isn't?
I think so. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I'm getting a little. All my buddies are teasing me because, what happened to Nitro is the glory? I said, yes, I love racing. Don't get me wrong, I love it.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
I love all things of RC, and like you said, everybody can do this. Everybody can do this, and that's why it's so popular, dude. And it's so much aftermarket stuff out there, and it's so like, I mean, when Associated did that, I was like, oh wow. They're awesome.
Well, listen to this. I mean, and hear me out there, people. If you want your chick or your kid to get involved in RC with you, get scalers.
Yeah.
Get scalers. It's not intimidating. It's not something that they feel uncomfortable with. No one's watching them or judging them. There's no competition whatsoever. None.
Yeah.
And for my wife and for my kids, that was their stepping off point. And they, my wife still does it with me, but she's never gone past that, but she very much enjoys that.
Yep.
And then, my other ones, they have grown into wine drag race and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, it is the perfect thing. You can literally do it anywhere.
Yep. Anywhere. Yeah. I think this weekend I'm going to take my 2 trail trucks out for the first time to somewhere with my son. I got them both up and running, and just going to have fun, and they're both ready to run. So, it's good. And my son wants to do it. He wants to race too, but we don't have a track yet. I'm going on next week to help build that. So that should be cool. So I get to do some trigger pulling shortly. All right. Now, podcasting. How did that come about?
You know how that came about? I got asked to go on the Radio Impound podcast show.
Yes, which was one of my first podcasts I ever listened to.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a podcast was when they asked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, sure, I'll go. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it's in my mind, it's promotion, so I'm there. So I went on there, and I was, and then afterwards I had to figure out how to even find the thing to listen to it. And I thought, well, I liked that. That's like my own stage to promote anything I want, as much as I want, talk about whatever I want, do whatever I want. I love it. It's all the things, And in my mind, I thought, okay, well, what are you going to do there, Big Tim? Well, I like to drag race, and I thought, no one's really done, because at the time I was doing a lot of videos and stuff like that,
Right.
And it was some topics were hard to, they felt cumbersome to do in a video. And I thought, I want to do things like, what is rock racing? What is drag racing? What do you pack when you go to the track? What's my pre-race prep look like? What do I do? I had raced long enough that some people kind of knew what I did, and there was some interest to know how I do what I do in some things. And I also knew that doing niche things like drag racing and speedrun racing and rock racing even at the time were out of the norm, and so it could be entertaining to hear about other parts of RC that are pretty cool that maybe people don't know about. And so that was it. And I thought it was a great promotional platform. I thought, this is awesome. I mean, truth of the matter is, when I was a kid, when I was really young, back when we used to only have cassette tapes, I used to record songs like this. You used to have the record button push and the pause button push. And as soon as the song started, you'd unpause it real quick so you get the song clean, and then try to repause it, in between.
Yes.
And then I would talk. I do talk-ins, between the next song. Like, I know what the next song was going to be, and I do like I had my own radio show going. I thought I was a radio guy. Also, I grew up in a really, really small town in the Midwest, and when I was real young, I used to get to go down to the radio station with my cousin, who was friends with the DJ, and they would let me talk on air, or at least they told me it was on air. I'm sure now it was not on air, but then I thought it was. And so there's always been a little part of me that thought that's kind of a cool thing to do, do like a radio show.
Right.
And so, that was it. And I thought, okay, well, let me figure out how to do this. So at the time, I think I ended up hearing Matt had just started the MBM podcast.
Yes.
And so, so I decided it's a good platform. So I contacted Matt and just said, hey, man, can you tell me how you do it? Like, what do I need to do? What do I need? Microphone, obviously. How do you record it? How do you do this stuff? And then somehow during our conversation of that, I kind of said, hey, man, would you be interested? We kind of hit it off. And I said, would you be interested in maybe doing the first show or two with me? Because I think it's going to be an intimidating thing to do by myself, and I don't think I'll end up doing it, and I really want to. And he agreed, and I mean, honestly, the rest was history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. I was just like, when I will admit, like, Matt's show, the song quality is really great, and yours is too. So. I know, like, when Jason's on the other one, he's doing it from his cell phone mostly, and you guys are kind of sitting, you have a nice setup, and Matt has a nice setup as well, so it equals great quality. But I was like, man, I like this, like, I want to do this one day, and I even tried to get on your show once. I think you had like guests coming on, but I was at my old house, and the internet was just so meh.
That's right. Was that like a Christmas show? We had a whole bunch. Come on.
And I didn't even get to come on, so I was, and then I just started listening, I was like, man, I want to talk about racing around the world, and that's why I decided to do this. So you were an inspiration to do that, and I was like, it's got to sound good. And when I first did it, I was so nervous. Like, my first few shows, you can hear that I'm nervous, and now it's like riding a bike. Get on it and you just do it. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
And your show is great, man, and I love it. Like, I love your character. It's so refreshing. You're savage. You're not so savage. You're savage, yes, but a lot of the stuff you say is true. And I guess I think we're gonna go to my one of my final questions here, because we have this discussion a lot. How can we change our industry? Like, I want to make off-road racing really cool because I think it's great. You're doing your thing for drag racing. I think drag racing appeals to a lot more, especially in America, because one, the cars look very scale. Two, it's like you said, no prep. I think that can be done anywhere that it's straight and it's clean road. And I mean, obviously, like 8 scale, like what I do is a lot harder because you need a track. Like, you need a big piece, piece of land, have a track. But I feel like as our genre of our sport, of our hobby, of our industry, we just don't put any focus on trying to be cool. Like, and I don't know. Like, what do you think? I know you have a strong opinion about this, so.
Well, I mean, of course I agree with you. I don't know that it's. I guess with that, I guess I want to ask a question, and that is, what do you, if you can have RC the way you want it in your mind that you see, what is that? Well, show me that. What does that look like?
For me,
yeah. What does that? What does that mean?
For me, I look at it as well in our genre. We have guys that get paid to race, right? That's their job. They get paid to race. They go around the world racing these cars. They win money. They make money from their sponsors. They're professional racers. That's what they are. Yes, okay, it's toy cars or scale motorsports, as we call it. It's just small cars. They don't physically do it, get in there and do it, but they have a skill set that not many people have, and they're making money off it. My issue is, and I say this all the time, there's no distinct line between professionalism and amateur.
That's right.
And I know people get tired of me saying it, but I always talk about RCGP, which Joseph has started, and a group of guys have started, a whole group of people have started. If you get a chance, have a look at it. They're trying to make a production. They're trying to make yes, I want to see a series too. I want to see people racing and stuff like that. But they're trying to make a professional production to create a viable product, to get it on to get some out of the industry sponsors on board. They want to. It's themed off motocross pretty much, like how motocross is. There's interviews after. There's race interviews. There's how like in Formula One they have the 3 drivers sitting down behind they have their cars on the table. I'll send you the link when you get a chance to one of the races.
I've been seeing it because you've been doing a great job of promoting it, and I've been seeing that, and I will agree. I was unsure because I heard you talk about it. It might have been on your show, and I mean I've 30 plus years I've seen it and heard it before, and I thought, well, we'll see, But now I've seen some stuff, and I've seen the idea and the image that they're trying to portray, and I agree 100% with it. I mean, I agree 100% with it. My whole thing with my question is I feel like you have to know what you actually want before you can even think about getting there. So if your idea is, look, I want to create a viable race product of RC racers that can actually be put on television, and people who are not here can identify with this. It can have an audience. It can build interest. If you want to do that, absolutely, you can. It just, some things have to change. The like you said, the separation between quote unquote amateurs and pros has to be very, very clean and wide. There's no other sport or racing or anything that it's not. It's extremely clean and wide.
Yeah.
You only know the drivers based on interviews. So yeah, if you're not doing those all the time, because like you had said too, and we both agreed, most drivers don't do a very good job promoting themselves. So someone's got to do it for them. So if someone is doing that, you put, listen, here's a great example. You put Ryan on your show on a couple shows ago.
Yeah.
And I messaged you probably immediately after I listened to it and told you how I couldn't believe how much my opinion changed about him listening to that. For good or bad, didn't matter. I'm just saying it did.
Right.
And the whole point of that, though, was he was given a platform to express himself to the public, and it helped grow his fan base.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's all it's about. So yeah, if this group can do that, can make that handful of people, because it doesn't have to be many. People can't follow that many characters in a TV show. I mean, you get past 6 or 7, and that's it.
Right.
So, if you take those few and they're elevated, and all the others are separated, and I know you hear this all the time, like even hobby shops or people, if the amateurs, if they're pushed out from these, they won't come, they won't race. Bullshit.
They'll race.
They'll all race. They'll race the very next weekend afterwards.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love golf. And I'm pretty damn good at it. And my favorite thing to do is every time the amateur tour or even the PGA tour is at a course is to play the very next week afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I want to play on what they played on, or as close as I can to it. I know I can't play with them, and I don't expect to.
Mm-hmm.
But you let the pros come to your track for one weekend. Your races don't run till 3 a.m. You get a focused amount of these. You figure out some entertainment in between rounds, because Monster Truck was able to do it. There's no reason RC can't do it.
Right.
You figure out some way to make the day happen, so you don't have 3,000 people racing. You only have the select group.
Right.
And that's it. Not everybody wins. My biggest beef with off-road is after a race is over, a big race like Silver State, on my timing, because I have a full capacity 5K following.
Right.
I get nonstop guys who get first or second at Silver State. Nonstop. How many fucking trophies they give away in first and second place there?
Yeah. They have so many classes now.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I've said this on my show, and I'll say it till the day I die. I just want to know who won.
Yeah.
That's it. Who actually won? Who was the dude here, or chick, who knows, that did this? I never can tell. And if I'm just on, if I'm this into RC and I'm on just the cusp, obviously, of off-road, but enough that I follow news and all that, and I don't know.
Yeah, nobody else knows.
You have a big-ass problem. Yeah, you have a really big problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, clean it up.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to see Ty Tessman win one and lose another one and then get third in another one and be totally confused, because then I see Ryan Mayfield won and he's got a bigger trophy. Wait, who won what?
Yeah.
I'm lost. What happened?
There's just so many classes at these races, man.
Yeah.
And then they're broken down into sportsman and open, which I think is kind of needed too.
It's fine. Do it the next weekend.
Yeah. I don't
let the track make double money.
Yeah. Well, at Silver State they can't do it because it's obviously it's in a casino and stuff like that. But I think
that's whatever. Then the people don't get a run there afterwards. But that's and that's also it too. Is you can't have a big race every weekend,
right?
Because not everyone's going to it. You need to select 7, maybe 10, key races. These are the ones. We call them the ones. We put them on a list to show everybody these are the ones. And so now everyone knows.
Yeah.
So you go and you win these races. These are the only ones that matter. Now, I know people get all pissed off because my track didn't get a one. My track, this is a hobby. Whatever. You have to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right there. Is it's been called a hobby for a long time, and when people see that their slice of it's getting pulled away, they jump on the soapbox. It's a hobby. You can't do it. Yeah. We can't raise the price above $10. People won't race. I can't afford it. Well, then go away. We don't need you.
I just want to grow it, and I think we have to hit the demographic of people that do full-scale racing. Because, one, I think once they find out... on my side, I always say motocross, because I think off-road racing is very similar to motocross. Like the same physics and stuff. I think we have a whole demographic of people that we don't even market to. I know RCGP's plan is hopefully next year on the American round is to have a race alongside of a Lucas Oil motocross race, like like an actual real race with all the pros there. How much exposure would that be? Like these people don't even know what we do
Well, I'll tell you can have all that exposure you want to all these new people who have never done RC racing, but if you do not have a class that is not intimidating for them to come and run in, that does not get polluted because some jackass who's raced 15 years wants to finally win a race, so he drops down to that class, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no in off-road, and as in many, and even in drag racing, up until really the Street Outlaw thing popped around, there's nothing. Now that we've had this drag strip out here, all these guys are local to me, so all the racers out here that I know have all come out. Like the last couple of races, they've all come out. And almost in unison, when a car goes down the track, now these are pro stock cars, okay? These cars run 132 feet in 1.6 seconds at about high 70 to 80 miles an hour. To me, that's not very fast at all. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal at all. That's the slowest of all of them, really.
Right.
But to these people, holy God, that was fast.
Yeah.
They couldn't even and these are guys that I know have raced for many years. These are not guys that have no idea what's going on. They competitively off-road race. They know what's happening, They can wheel. But to them, they watched it and they were like, holy shit. Yeah. And these guys were intimidated by it. So they're never going to come out and spend $1,000 and build up a badass car because they already are like, dude, that's way too fast. I'm not going to come out here and smash a car to pieces and look like an idiot when I can just go to my off-road track or my oval track or whatever it is and do my thing that I know how to do. Mm-hmm. So unless you create a class for people to that allows them to be successful, it's never. You don't waste your time promoting to people who've never raced. That's all I'm saying.
I get that. I think
we're doing it, and I've kind of pulled people off. I'm like, if you're going to promote and try to drag people into drag racing right now without a real class for them to come into, you have to get existing racers. Yeah. People that at least can grasp it, like what's going on, but outside people, forget it.
Yeah. Well, I think the sportsman class that we have, mostly at most Nitro races, because we don't really have a spec class in Nitro. I know in like 10 scale they have spec class. Well, I don't even, not stock, like a spec class, because stock isn't spec. Stock is actually in off-road is more expensive than mod.
Exactly.
A spec class.
Emanated.
Yeah, a spec class or even like a sportsman class where, and I mean, just where people can come and they don't feel intimidated. They can race against people people have to learn, obviously, but I think the best way to learn is to actually jump feet first and race. And this also includes like club racing, like going to your local track and learning there and putting in laps there as well. That's like, as if we make things bigger, everybody eats. That's all I like to say. If we make the pie bigger, everybody gets a bigger slice and they get a little bit more full. That's how I look at it. I hope that happens because I just think what we do is really cool. All forms of RC, and I just want to see more people doing it. That's my bottom line at the end of the day, and having fun doing it as well.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
All right.
Yep.
You got something to say?
No.
Okay. I do have a few questions.
All right.
From the post I made today. First is from my mate Adam Ross. I actually he's from Canada. What's this all about? He says, what's needed to start a fun drag racing league with time slips and like a spec class slash or two-wheel drive based vehicles? He says he's really into Mustangs and Novi bodies and would like to get something started.
Yeah, the best thing I would suggest do is go on Facebook and go to the MPRC, No Prep RC page, and check that out, because that's where we have the rules for the street outlaw car, where it's essentially a short course truck with rubber tires and some kind of car body on 2 cells, and then just go crazy. As far as getting time slips, paper time slips, unfortunately, when you reach the plateau of paper time slips you get to take away with you, you're going to put a few $1,000s into a timing system. We just bought a brand new one. We're actually going to set it up and run it for the first time this weekend at our test and tune, and it was just over $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's an investment. Yeah. So if you have to track around, go support them.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't do that and you don't have that kind of money to drop down, Trexis makes a drag timing system. They used to. There's still a lot of them floating around out there. You can pick them up for, honestly, $50 or less. Don't pay more than that. Go to eBay, look around. But if you get one of the remote controls with the Bluetooth in it, it hooks up to this drag track system, and you can have a display like an iPhone or an iPad, and it'll display the runs, the mile an hour. It'll store it all, so you can go back and look at runs. It'll set up ladders so you can race each other. It's actually very, very good for what it is for $50. So that's what I suggest to people. Okay. Build yourself a couple of short course cars, go buy yourself a Trexis timing system, and start working it out. And I mean, it really won't take long, and you'll realize, man, this is a good time. So
awesome. Actually, Michael Farabee, he actually suggested that he goes to the NPRC page as well. So
yeah,
I actually got to check it out myself. All right. The next question is from Chris Trudeau. He says, as drag racing continues to grow, would you like to see some sort of worlds or bracket to determine the fastest, or can drag racing be quantified the same way as an IFMAR off-road or on-road worlds?
Actually, because the track is 132 feet, a scale quarter mile, and everybody runs the same track, you very much could, and that actually quietly does go on, but no, it's in the scene, behind the scenes. I know exactly how fast my competitors in Pro Stock have gone, the ones in Puerto Rico, the ones in Texas, the ones in I know everybody. Mm-hmm. I keep track of everybody and what they're running and where I line up against them. Currently, no, there's no real system, because there's actually about 3 or 4 different leagues that each of these in, and they don't all work together, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, back in the 90s, there was just the IEDA. There was one drag racing organization, and they had what they called the worlds and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, right now it's just a little bit fragmented. The RCDRL is certainly trying, but you can't really wrangle in.
Right.
You can't do it. It just doesn't work.
He actually has multiple questions too, so I'll
let her rip.
Go to the next one. He says, is a world record the only way to prove who's fastest, or does it matter?
Well, it depends on what if you're trying to see who's fastest or who's quickest, then yeah. A guy named Dennis Guzman from Puerto Rico, he's gone a 1.52. That's 1.52 seconds in 132 feet with his one-cell Pro Stock car. So to me, he has the record. He is it.
Okay.
Now, people ask me, okay, in drag racing, there's 2 things. There's making records, but there's winning races.
Right.
And I've always been a strong believer in, I like to win races. That's what I like to do. I mean, making a record is cool, but normally making records in drag racing means you're really, really on the ragged edge of everything at that time, to make that happen. I'm just a guy who likes to go home with trophies, so I like to go around. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but some people, all they do is go out there and look at their time slip after a run and get mad because it wasn't, as quick as a record. And that's fine, but I mean, yeah, I know how hard it is to make that stupid little car go, from the start line to the finish line, A to B as we call it, in 132 feet. It sounds ridiculously simple. It is unbelievably difficult. So, I know what it takes, and I believe that I know I build a really solid car. I work really hard on my cars to be very consistent and go A to B, and that's been my chant for a long time is we make things happen. I get out there and I'm going to go rounds. You're going to have to beat me. You're going to have to cut a better light, and you're going to have to outrun me because I'm going to give you everything.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what wins races.
Yeah. So there's definitely a difference. Like just because you said, I get it. Like, I would rather win too. Yeah.
Records are cool. Don't get me wrong. They feel awesome. I mean, I love it. But I always feel like the records go away, but I still have that plaque or that trophy or that that win.
Yeah.
So I won the Super Nationals in Texas 2 years ago. I went to Texas, and if you listen to the show, you know for weeks and weeks beforehand, I told everybody how I'm going to come to Texas. I'm going to beat everybody's ass. I'm working on this car. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I built a dyno, blah, 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 blah. Right? Mm-hmm. And I went to Texas, and I stomped everybody's ass. And, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and you got a badass trophy, I think, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's what it is. I couldn't tell you who had the record. I couldn't even tell you. I know I was not the TQ. I was not the fastest guy that weekend. But it didn't matter to me. I knew I'm going to go rounds. I'm going to beat your ass. You're going to have to beat me. And that's hard to do sometimes.
Yep.
So
he also wants to know, are timing and rules somewhat subjective, and is there a formal raw equivalent rule book, or is that something you and others could write to further legitimize the drag racing side of the hobby?
Well, everybody runs. Everyone meaning the 3 or 4 different leagues out there.
Right.
We all work off of the same basic rule book that was established as far as the track goes, size, length, width, and all that. That was established, probably in the 90s. The lanes are 10 feet wide. That's not a scale lane, but these cars are little and fast, so
right.
The lanes are 10 feet wide. It's a scale quarter mile, 1/10 scale quarter mile, so it's 1,320 or 132 feet. So as far as that goes, that's all very standard and typical. The timing system is all based on real drag racing. We have the same exact tree they use in real drag racing. We run a 4/10 and a 5/10, which that means that from the time all the yellows come on till the time the green comes on, there's 4/10 of a second time between that. Mm-hmm. So it gets confusing, but basically you want your car to leave just as that light is turning green and not too soon.
Right.
And so that's a whole skill unto itself too. And so those things are very much uniform throughout. As far as the rules go, they're pretty uniform. There might be some slight differences in maybe weights in cars. Like my Pro Stock is 34 ounces, and I think there's a league out there that they run 36. So, but it's very minor adjustments, Mm-hmm. So you kind of have all those things. Drag racing has been established and has not changed much in a very long time. The only thing that happened was the rules got rewritten to add in lipos and brushless motors.
Yeah, pretty much.
That didn't really affect anything because the rules basically said the motor has to fall within this can size, which is a 540 can, and they all do. So,
Awesome.
It's all
awesome. The next question is from your partner in crime, Matrick himself, Matthew Hausen of the MBM podcast. He wants to know, what has been the most pivotal point in your RC career?
I don't know about pivotal. Maybe winning the Super Nationals was a pretty big deal. The TV show, getting the Netflix things feels like a big deal to me, but I don't know that anybody really saw that.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Matrick, why are you asking me such a difficult question?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to ask you that on the podcast. I don't know.
Why doesn't he? So I can tell him knock it off with that kind of stuff.
And our final question is from Joe Zaire Jr., a friend of mine, fellow podcaster as well. He says, What's your timeline for getting your black belt in Jiu Jitsu?
Oh, man. This guy. I finally got to brown, dude. Leave me alone.
Yeah, he's an avid Jiu Jitsu.
I know. He got in, and he got into it pretty late, but he's really got the passion right now going.
Yeah.
I ended up getting my 3rd stripe in brown. I don't know. I'm in no quest for it. I can tell you that.
Right. It is a difficult thing to attain. Very difficult.
I'm just more. I like to try to stay loose and flexible and in a little bit of shape. Mm-hmm. I'm in terrible shape, but I can choke the shit out of you.
There you go. It's an awesome art. It's an awesome art. All right. Well, that's all the questions we have from the viewers, but we do have a segment on this podcast. Ooh. It's called the FastRaceShop.com 10 question, 10 second segment. It's brought to us by Fast Race. It's an Italian company that makes shock caps, and I like to say put a little Ferrari on your RC, get some Italian stuff. So they make some cool stuff like that. And these questions are just quick questions. Some of them are RC related, some aren't. And you just have to answer them as fast as you can.
You are now locked in to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Check out AssaultRC.com for the latest products for all your performance RC needs. Featuring the best lubes and specialty tools on the market. Use promo code LEFTY19 at checkout for 10% off your entire order at AssaultRC.com.
Tim Smith, are you ready for the FastRaceShop.com 10 question, 10-second segment?
I am ready.
All right. Number 1. Name an RC class you have wanted to race but never have.
Off-road.
Okay. Great.
Don't race it. That's the only thing I haven't done.
Yeah, I'm shocked you haven't done it, though. Really, I am.
If he does it, I don't need to. You guys already got it worked out.
Number 2. What is the craziest job you've ever had?
I mean, outside of, pro wrestling, when I was a kid in high school, I drove a flower delivery truck for a florist.
Right.
And I had a few strange experiences. One is I came to a door and the woman was completely nude. That was something.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, another one was I had to set up for funerals, and I was in there, and the mortician guy was in there. It was my first time, and I'm like, I don't really know what to do because the body's in there. FYI, It's right there. Some guy I don't know, dead as he can be. And so I tell the mortician guy, I'm like, okay, I got this, this cummerbund. Do I just set it on him? What do I do? He takes a pin and jabs it right into him. He goes, nah, he won't feel it. So there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Number 3, if you can bring back one RC class, what would it be? Like a class that isn't popular, it doesn't even happen anymore.
Yeah, probably nickel metal hydrates and brushed motors.
I meant like a racing class. Sorry, should have.
I mean, I don't know. I really miss. I mean, I know oval's still going on out there, but I don't ever see it. I miss oval.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah. You should try some dirt oval. I don't know if they do that in California. Yeah, they have to do it.
Actually, building a track really like maybe 3 minutes from me.
Yeah.
I may have to go check that out.
Yeah. Good stuff. Number 4. What is your favorite frosty beverage? Alcoholic frosty beverage.
Oh, wine anymore. I loves wine. Holy mackerel, dude. I don't know what happened. I never liked it in my life, and now I can't get enough.
Really? I'm not a wine fan. Maybe when I get a little older, I'll like it.
Maybe that was it. Maybe I just got so old. I don't know what happened.
All right.
I mean, I like a beer now and then, though.
Yeah, I definitely like the beer. We can tell. Number 5. Do you think you will... Well, you already said this in the podcast, but are you sure you're going to do... Okay, here's a better question. Because I was going to ask you, do you think you'll crack the 200 mile per hour? And you came so close, and you can do it. That's obvious. Yeah. What's the fastest you think you can go, realistically?
218 miles an hour. That's how fast I think this car, the way it is, will go.
Okay.
So past that, I don't know. I really do believe I can do above 225. But it's hard to say. When you're going this fast, a lot of things go bad.
Yeah.
So
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Now I've lost count where I'm at. But anyway, number 6. You work for Maxim's, right?
Well, I mean, no.
Okay.
Yes, no. I mean, I'm a driver for them.
Okay, I thought you worked there.
Okay. No. They're in a different state than me. I used to handle the trade shows out on the West Coast. No, actually, I'm wondering. I could say whatever I want, I think. I work for a company that we do military sonar and subsea recovery systems.
Okay. You really are smart.
Sometimes, some days, maybe.
Okay.
But I also, in the last 2 years, I guess, I've been developing an ROV, an underwater...
I heard you say that. Yes.
Yeah, remotely operated vehicle. I'll send you a link so you can post it up and do whatever you want. As long as it doesn't come from me, it doesn't matter. No, it's on YouTube. It's totally cool.
Okay. All right.
But I just don't want to put it up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this has been my baby for the last 2 years. It's RC. It's very much RC when you see it. We'll see. I'm actually even in the video, I'm pretty sure. Okay. But that's been my thing, and we're really close to the launch of it. The first 25 units are in the middle of being made right now. So that's why my days have been 10, 12-hour days. And it's been an uphill battle to develop something of this magnitude. I basically developed the greatest quadcopter that will fly 400 to 500 meters underwater.
Really?
And pick it up and bring it back to you, and has sonar, has navigation, has pitch hold, depth hold, and heading hold, so you can do all kinds of things with it. And
is it tethered or not tethered?
Yes, it's tethered. Everything has to be tethered.
Okay. Yeah,
you can't put that kind of power down, but it is battery operated, so my tether is very small. A very small 4mm fiber optic tether, but I'm getting about 6.5 hours of runtime. So nobody usually does any kind of operation underwater for more than about an hour is pretty much max. You can't sit on a screen staring at it, driving for more than that. It's just too much.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's what I did, or that's what I do now.
Well, my question was going to be, if you didn't work at Max Amps, where would you love to work? But you don't work at Max Amps.
Max Amps, that's where I'd love to work. I'll go the opposite way.
Okay, awesome. Number 7. What do you think about pro wrestling now?
Oh, I still love it. I haven't watched it in years. Mm-hmm. I still love it, but the days of how it used to be are kind of gone now. Yeah. So I haven't really gotten as into it. I did actually just a few weeks ago caught a little bit of the Monday Night Raw show.
Yeah.
But I didn't know really anybody on it. And I think I saw somebody like Jeff Hardy or something like that and thought, oh my God, he's so old. And that was about it, though. It didn't hook me. Yeah, I'm a Brock Lesnar fan. I still love him.
My son is really into it. He's young, so I ended up watching it, and we play the games on PlayStation and stuff like that. So,
I was a huge Ric Flair fan. That was my era.
Ultimate Warrior, dude. That was my dude.
Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, Ted DiBiase. I was a huge fan of Ted DiBiase's. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Those guys are so talented. They're to be able to do what they do in the ring. Like, people's like, oh, it's fake. And but it still takes skill.
So hard. And you have to be so physically skilled and precise to not kill the guy you're working with or yourself. I mean, it really is the truth.
Do you think, on the insides, do they improv, like, do they have scripts? Do they make scripts for themselves, or do they just go off the cuff? Like, when they do interviews and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, that's all pre-done. It gets done a few times over. You know exactly what you're going to say. Okay. I mean, some guys are probably really good and only have to have a few notes. I mean, it'd be like going and doing a show, like you or I. Like, you might have to have a few notes. Yes. You might be really good, just rant and go off. That's why I can. Right. I can do that kind of for that same reason. But as far as like any matches, you might have like, okay, we come in, we'll do this, and then back and forth a few times, and that's kind of a creative zone for the two guys to work together. Mm-hmm. But then there's going to be key moments throughout the match, and there'll be a turning point in the match, and then a pin in the match, and if there's an involvement in the match, those will all be keyed out exactly when they're going to happen, who's going to do them, where they're going to take place, what the move is going to be. It has to be. I mean, otherwise someone will get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. It is. You put your life in another guy's hands, so there's no messing around. Everybody knows what's going to happen.
What these guys are doing now in wrestling, like off the top rope and all that, it's incredible, man. It really is. Like, these dudes are super athletes, man. Super athletes. Yeah. Okay. Number 8? What is the biggest genre in RC right now?
Outside of bashing, probably scaling.
Yeah.
Just pure individual numbers. I mean, when I go to Axial Fest, like last year, and I'm not kidding you, nearly 2,000 actual people with
not entries, 2,000 people.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling. I have never seen the sights that I've seen at some scale events. Shred the Ledge, one that's on the East Coast, huge. Another one. Proline, my belief is now at the Pro Line by the Fire, has been going a few years with the Axial Fest sort of changing. I can see the Pro Line one maybe exploding. It could be the one that does it. But alluding to what I said earlier about Associated, I would not be shocked to see them maybe pull up something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Guys like John Schultz. John Schultz was, I don't want to say the only thing because it takes away from other people that had, input and effort, but he was a major, major, major factor in what your experience at Axial Fest was.
Yeah.
So for him to go to Associated, I would not be shocked to see.
He's awesome.
He's an awesome guy. He's a really great guy.
He is.
Just as a guy, just a guy to hang out and talk to. He's a great guy.
Cool. Okay, number 9. If you wasn't racing RC cars, what would you be racing?
Real drag cars.
Okay. And number 10, what's the coolest country RC has taken you to?
Puerto Rico's not a country.
It's an island. It's still America, but
Yeah, I mean, for RC, I would have to say Japan then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because Canada's just Canada, and Australia.
Canada's just Canada.
Yeah, so
Australia has everything that can kill you fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The women though, it's 2-to-1 women to men there. Which
Really?
is kind of an interesting ratio. Yeah.
Interesting.
I found that dudes didn't like me there.
Really? Maybe
Like, they didn't, American guys. I don't know what we did wrong, but they didn't. They didn't seem jolly mate like they are on TV.
Oh yeah, they're not like the Crocodile Dundee. I have a couple of friends from that I talk to. Man, they're insane. They're from Australia and New Zealand. They're good people. They are insane, but they're nice people. All right, cool, man. Well, that ends the FastRaceShop.com 10 questions, 10 second segment. I know if you just like me, it's never going to be 10 seconds, so it's all good. You have anything to say before we wrap up this podcast, dude?
No, I mean, thanks to you having me on. Like, it's honestly pretty rare that I actually get interviewed and not do an interview, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's strange to sit back and talk about the stuff I've done, but I do appreciate it. And of course, I want to thank all the people that support me. I mean, Max Amps, MKS, Gropner, Tekin. I mean, I have awesome people that support me, and I'm not a normal racer who goes out and races the Silver State or whatever the hell it is.
No,
I mean, I'm kind of different in that way, but they support me and they support what I do. They support my idea of RC, and thanks to you, and obviously thanks to all the people out there. Like, man, we have a lot of support. It's great.
Thank you for coming on. I really wanted to get you on because I think your vision of RC is great, and I think I would like to see that implemented more, especially on our side of the hobby. So thank you for your time, dude. It was awesome as usual. Keep doing the podcast. I love it. I want to pick your brain later because I really have this idea. I don't know how to operate it, how to go into it, but that's never stopped me from doing anything before. So,
Right on.
All right, dude. Well, thank you for your time, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You are entering the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. The part of the podcast that gives the listeners a platform to talk about RC. Brought to you by Techno RC. Techno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.technorc.com for a complete catalog of their products.
So hey everybody, welcome to the Techno RC Grassroots Racer Spotlight. This is the segment dedicated to the listeners of the No Name RC podcast, the guys that are out there racing on the weekends, working Monday to Friday, and doing this just because they like racing. So this week's guest is from all the way over in the UK, is Mr. Mike Agar. What's up, Mike? How are you?
Hey man, how you doing, Keegan?
I'm good. Tell everybody what part of the UK you're in.
Okay, so I'm in a little town called Scarborough, which is in the county of North Yorkshire, and it's the east coast of England, about halfway up as you look at the map.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Good stuff. So how long have you been into RC?
Well, I'm in my 40s, and I've been back racing for a year, but when I was in my teens, I raced for, I guess, about 6 years there, off-road buggies, electric buggies, raced with lots of my mates, had a really good time, and then, of course, school, jobs, that kind of thing took over, and then we got back together, we kept in touch, and we got back together about a year ago. We just went out for a few beers, and we were all sort of remembering our time of racing buggies. It was kind of, we should do that again, so here we are.
I have a saying, it says, you can leave RC, but it never really leaves you. I know lots of people that probably don't race anymore, but they still keep up with it. Even when I've had my breaks, I always try to keep up with it. So it's a passion that doesn't leave you unless you I know some people that have literally walked away completely, but it's very few and far between. So tell us a little bit about where you guys race. Is it just you and your mates that show up and go race, or tell us about some of your favorite tracks up there in the north of England?
Okay, so the town I actually live in doesn't really have its own track. There's no facilities here, so if we go racing, I race with my daughter, my middle daughter, who's 10. Okay. So if we go racing, we've got to travel, obviously. So we've got, our main club is York, which is 45 minutes away. So York Off-Road Club, they're on the internet, they're a really good club, really well supported. We've got model shop support, so it's really good sort of junior section as well, so my daughter's very happy with that. We race indoor buggies, we're in the 10th electric. We have a stock class, we do modified, we sometimes do a rallycross class. We race in the school hall, so it's kind of slippery floor, but we've got some good carpet as well, and some jumps and stuff.
Yeah, I saw a video of that, actually. The rally cars going around on the gym floor.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, lots of sideways, actually.
Yeah. So the track... go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've got other clubs, and we've got to drive wherever we go. So we've got the Neem Club in North, up in Tyneside. We have Robin Hood, which is hosting the Euros next year, for the outdoor AstroTurf track. We've got Bat Buggy Club. We've got an outdoor track as well. MB Models, they've got an indoor carpet track, and they also do touring cars. So there's a fair few clubs, but we've got to drive.
Yeah. Are there any MB Models? I remember buying stuff from them when I was in the UK. Do they have a permanent track now?
They do, yeah. They've got it in the basement of the shop. So they've got a unit in just outside of Leeds, and they race in they've got a permanent carpet track, and they do buggies during buggies during the winter, put some jumps in and stuff. Batley Buggy Club race there. And then they have touring cars during the summer.
Do you ever get down to Silverstone or even down to...
I've not gone that far afield, not yet. We're going to try and do some of the regionals, the North East regionals this year. So that'll be, sort of Batley, York, Robin Hood, that kind of thing. But I say we just got back into it the past year, and my daughter just loves it. It's really good. Good bunch of people. It's just really friendly, so it's a good social thing.
What type of cars are you guys racing?
So at the moment, we're both racing Associate B6s, the two-wheel drive class. Just got a Yokomo touring car as well, just have a sort of dabble of that over the summer possibly, but the buggies are the main thing. Off-road all the way.
Okay, that's good stuff. So you mentioned Robin Hood. So do you get to race, is it the Astro track, or... Because they have two tracks, if I'm not mistaken.
They do, yeah. They've got a dirt track as well, yeah. To be fair, I think the dirt track is a high maintenance thing. The weather in England's not fantastic. So,
yes.
It's mostly covered over tarpaulin. So we use the AstroTurf track. We've been down there for a couple of races this year already that have been really, really well supported.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. But it is an awesome facility. I watched the 2015 Euros there, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe Lee won there.
Yeah.
So I believe Lee Martin won there. I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
So
I watched the videos, try and get some ideas of how to do it when you've got an AstroTurf.
Yeah. So you said you left RC for a little while, and what actually? I know you said you was off drinking, having a few pints with the boys. What actually drew you guys back into it?
Just the sort of reminiscing, we'd sort of kept in touch. It was like my really good mates, and a couple of them racing back with me now, and we meet up every so often and just have a few beers and go for a curry, that kind of thing. And we were just literally sat around going, oh, do you remember when we used to go mountain biking? Do you remember when we used to do this? And we said, we should look at RC cars again. And I'd kind of looked just for getting one to play about with in the house. And I thought, I wonder what race cars are like these days. And it just looked awesome. The technology is so far advanced now. It's, the batteries and the motors are just amazing. So, it was just a matter of, hey, that looks like a good lot of fun. And we got back into it.
Yeah, because back in your day, well, my day too, you was running brushed and nickel metal hydride, Electric was...
we were on the previous ones, so we were on the old NiCad batteries.
Yeah, that's crazy.
SCE batteries and stuff, so you were spending a fortune on batteries, a fortune on motors. And
brushes and all that stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes you weren't even getting your 5-minute run out of them, and it was just... It was good fun, but infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to go back to those days. Brushless and LiPo is so great. Yeah.
I don't know what's the most advantage. I mean, the batteries, LiPo batteries are just amazing. There's so much power with them, but the brushless motors, they're totally fit to get. And it's just a different sport. It's totally accessible now, and it's fairly cheap for what it is. You can go quick for not a lot of money now.
I agree. People say this is a very expensive sport, but I say, well, have you ever raced full-scale racing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a friend of mine races rally cars, and he spends a fortune. But we've set up, myself, my daughter, and the majority of our kit is second-hand. Used cars, used radio gear. We've bought some new stuff, but people just sell on a lot of stuff, and it's not actually that bad to get set up.
Yeah, I remember when I was in the UK, I used Upul quite a lot, and I bought all my stuff used. And I bought all my stuff used, and it was good. I actually bought everything back here to the DR, and I still have my B5M and all that stuff that I bought way back, 2014. Yeah, good stuff, man. Hey, do you ever dabbled in the 8-scale Nitro racing?
No. I've had a sort of, I think it was a Thunder Tiger or something, like a 10 touring car with a Nitro motor, and we just ran it on the car park kind of thing, but it was messy. It was a bit of a pain, to be honest. So that was kind of, I think I sold it for sort of, to buy some more sort of electric gear,
Nitro's the glory, man. That's the motto here.
Nitro's messy. And to be fair, it's not very well supported in the UK. The main racing in the UK is 1/10 off-road buggy. It's really accessible. Yeah, I
do realize that.
Touring car places going, but the buggies are the thing.
There are some very nice 8-scale off-road tracks there. Hearts comes to Maine, Kent, Slough. I just understand, like, actually having been in England and seeing how the weather is, living there for 6 months, why 10 scale is just more popular. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's easier to do, and you can do it. They do club races, club meets throughout the week, and then they have the regionals or nationals or bigger races on the weekend. So I totally understand that. So now that you've come back into RC and you was into it way back in the day, what obviously you talked about lipos and brushless. What else do you see that is different or maybe better, or what was better back in your time when you was racing? What do you think is better now, and what do you think was better back in your time?
Okay, so I think back in the day the cars were better. I had the old aluminium tubbed RC10 with a rear motor. I think they looked a better proportion.
Mm-hmm.
It was just good fun, RC is good fun. But I think the cars now are they're really, really strong. We don't see a lot of breakages. And just the way they've transformed, and the track surface is totally different. I mean, we did race on carpet when I was first racing, but that was only because it was terrible weather outside and you had to go and race somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now the whole carpet racing is vastly different. You've got so much grip. I guess it's not really off-road, it's a flat surface. You've got the jumps and you've got obstacles and stuff, obviously, but it's not pure off-road like the old grass circuits.
Right.
Which I do kind of miss, I don't miss cleaning the cars, but the grass circuits were great. They were always changing round by round.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of weather conditions. But I think the accessibility of racing indoors on carpet is just amazing. There's so many clubs popping up, sports halls and, scout huts and community halls. It's just a very easy thing to get into.
Yeah.
And of course the cars have changed to reflect that. You're all mid-motor cars now, much more advanced shock absorbers. There's not that much maintenance needs to be done, I don't think. We replace stuff if we break it, but that's been few and far between. You know, you service the diff every now and again, but the cars are just much more just usable, I guess. Not so fragile.
Yeah, technology is amazing. I mean, I think all the cars are pretty durable. It doesn't matter which one you ride. I mean, anything's gonna break if you smack a wall or
of course, yeah,
or jump wrong. But I am actually a fan of carpet and Astro racing. I know that people say it's not off road. Yeah, maybe it's not, but it's
all good. I mean,
I think it's great. I think it's fun. I enjoyed it. A set of tires lasts a while, you know, and the set of tires for them doesn't really set you back that much, and you can get.
Yeah, I mean, we've not spent a vast amount. To be fair, you know, tires are consumable wherever you go, and they're certainly better than they were back in the day as well. I think.
Yeah, I agree. So, what do you think about RC in general, like the state of RC right now? We have some people say, like, I'm one of the guys who think that we need to definitely get more people involved in all forms of RC, not just 8 scale. I primarily focus on 8 scale because that's what I like. And this is mostly what this podcast is about. But I'm definitely big on promoting our hobby, our industry, or as Nick Damon calls it, scale motorsports. I think we have to promote it, make it look cool like all other motorsports, and hopefully attract more people in the process of doing that, because the more people racing RC, the better it is for everybody. How do you feel about that?
I think, like we said about the technology, I mean, you've now got social media is a huge thing, so it is easier to make things look cool and make them look accessible. And I think anybody starting up in, you know, whether you're 10th off road or touring cars, Nitro, whatever, it's cool to get people in the hobby. And I think it just makes it more. It's a real world thing, and you know, I've got 3 children, and the technology thing with them is a really big draw. You know, they're on screens and laptops and tablets, that kind of thing. And the thing I really like about having Harriet, my daughter, racing with me is that she's with me. She's meeting her friends. It's sociable. It's a real world thing, you know, and she's learning stuff all the time. You know, it's not just racing the cars. It's, you know, she might not do really well in a race, and it's just one of those things. It's just you know, a good experience. And I think social media is a terrific thing. You know, you can put out really good looking pictures. You know, you guys are doing podcasts and things.
Yes.
And I think it's so much easier to promote anywhere in the world. You know, it's not limited to the local paper or something like that.
Yeah, I do miss old school magazines though. I used to get a magazine from the UK called Racer, I think it was called.
Yeah, Radio Race Now was one of them. I think
I do miss that. But you know, we live in a day and age now where everything can be found with the touch of a button. You know, so
absolutely, yeah.
I think we have to exploit that, and I'm all about promote. Like, you know, if I see anybody and they ask me what I do, and I tell them, yeah, I work for this company and I do this, and like, really, like, it's like general conversations that I have when I like going through immigration or going through customs when I'm flying, or anybody will say, hey, what's that shirt you're wearing? So I think we're all ambassadors of RC, and I think we're all responsible for getting new people in and helping them out when they do get in, because we have to remember at one point we were all new and didn't have all the help that we wanted as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So
I think the scene in England is really strong with the juniors as well. There's a lot of, you know, you've got the under 16s and 13s. My local club at York, we can probably, I don't know, a couple of heats a night are probably entirely juniors, and there's a lot of girls racing as well. So, you know, it's good to see the next generation of people coming into it. And there's a lot of people like myself who've raced when they were younger, and now they've kind of come back to it, and they've got children of their own, so they're taking interest in it. It's very sociable. The York Club is amazing. It's a really sort of social family vibe about on the race night.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So how did you get your daughter into it?
Well, I sort of got all the car and you know, new batteries and all that carry on, and I'd been a couple of times on my own to York to go and race, and then just sort of coming back and unpacking my gear and you know, fixing stuff, but I'd crashed it from being a beginner again, I suppose, and she just sort of taken an interest, and she's quite sort of hands-on, she's practical, and just had a go in the car park at the local supermarket and liked it. So we, I think to start off with, she had a Associated V4, you know, really cheap and just really slow motor in it, and just went from there. But just made sense to get the V6 because then we're on the same spares package, and it's just a bit easier. But she just likes the social side more than anything else. The other juniors are great at the club, and she goes along to see her mates and race cars.
Good. Does she do any of her own wrenching, or do you do all that for her?
Depends what she's broken and how quick it needs to be fixed.
Okay, but it's good that she's learning something, because I see a lot of people that. I told.
She's my pit crew when we need a quick tyre change. When you got to go on Marshall and you need some different tyres for next round or something. So she's very good at that.
Good stuff. Well, I have a couple more questions here, and one would be, what would you like to see change in RC at the moment?
I'd like a track where I live. Is what I'd like, as I'm sure everybody would.
How far of a drive is it for you?
Well, my closest one is York, and that's, I guess, 3/4 an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I think in England, people have got this sort of stigma about travelling to do stuff. If you've got to get in your car for more than 5 minutes, it's not worth doing sometimes. And I think it's a shame, really, because we drove to another club a couple of weeks ago because our local club wasn't running. It was a case of we just want to race. And we drove for like 2 hours, and we had a great night.
Yeah.
And even the members of the club were like, "Oh, I can't believe you've gone that far," and what a journey, but it's not that bad. So I'd like a local club. I'd like a Scarborough club again. We used to have one back in the day. It was fantastic. But I think in general, what would have changed? I don't know is the honest answer. I think it just needs to be more popular. I think it's a good thing. And I think, like you were saying earlier, that you need to promote that and make it look cool. Get some good pictures out there and some good videos and good websites and stuff. But I think it does happen. I think you just need to promote it more as a hobby. I don't see a lot of it in the mainstream press and never have done. So I think that would be a big
Well, if when you get some time, check out the RCGP show. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I've watched the video. Yeah, I watched the video feed as well. That's been cool.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. Obviously, I think it is because I've kind of been a part of it. But we have to do something different, man, because we can't keep doing what we're doing and expect.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, in conclusion, do you have a favorite driver or race that you wish to attend, or a driver that you would like to meet?
Man. I think the weird thing is that a lot of the people that I used to sort of look up to when I was racing are just on Facebook, and you can just be friends with them on there, which is a bit weird. I remember names like Craig Drescher, Jamie Booth, a lot of the big names from when I raced. They're still around, they might not be racing, but they're there. They're on Facebook, which is a bit weird. You can just sort of be friends with them on there. I don't know, I think it'd be cool to see the Euros when that comes to Robin Hood next year.
Yeah, I think the Euros is a great race, man. I make the Nationals and the Euros, both 10 scale, and the Nationals in America and the Euros in Europe. I watch both because I think I like the Europe a little bit more because it's in like countries. I enjoy the Nationals too, but it's it's a little different. It's not split up into countries, but definitely races I love to watch, and I enjoy, and if it's gonna be a Robin Hood again, I'll definitely watch it next year. So I'm looking forward to it myself. So yeah, good stuff. And Jamie Booth actually, I want to get him on this podcast too. I've been told a few times he's actually probably a good guest to interview on the podcast. So definitely working towards that. And
it's been really good coming back to it. I mean, we sort of used to look up to the American race scene, the dirt tracks and the reedy races and things like that. And I think Europe has definitely caught up, especially with the carpet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even I think now USA is following Europe with the carpet and AstroTurf tracks more because they're finding. So
I'd like to see more dirt tracks here, if I'm honest. Robin Hood's got one, but
it might be good for an indoor track.
Indoor.
Yeah, an indoor dirt track would be great in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think it's you need the backing. If you're going to have an indoor dirt track, that's a massive undertaking, a rental for a unit or something, and I think in the UK
it's expensive.
It is expensive, and I think the clubs they're well supported, but not enough. I don't think. Personally, I don't know the cost, but it would seem to be an expensive option to have an indoor dirt track, whereas you can hire a hall for I don't know, 20 quid an hour or something to go and race your cars on it. So it's, yeah, I'd like to see a dirt track local. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it takes time and it takes more people racing, and
Absolutely,
it all adds up. And I was thinking about your comment about people saying driving 2 hours. I think what it is that fuel, so like gasoline, so expensive in the UK. It's probably
I guess so,
$8 a gallon, and the traffic is horrible in the UK too. So, but hey, if you want to race, you got to race. I mean,
that's it. You got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to drive. We don't have a track here. No, I'm actually going down. We're building a new one. I'm going to be heading down there probably, I don't know, over the next few weeks to help them finish it off. And that's 3.5 hours away. And fuel isn't cheaper. It's like $5 a gallon. So,
Sure.
So all good stuff. Well, before we end this, is there anybody you would like to say thanks or shout out to? Your local club, your friends, anybody that'll be listening to this podcast?
Cool. Yeah. Just York Club. You can find us on the internet at yorcc.org.uk. That's York Off-Road Car Club. They're an absolutely amazing bunch of guys. I know Ben Riley, all the sort of committee down there, Jerry and everybody that runs it. They're really the top set of blokes. Robin Hood Raceway as well, which is our local-ish outdoor track. And just everybody I race with. They're a top bunch of blokes and ladies, obviously. Just keep on racing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been good fun so far this year.
And it was great talking to you, man. And I've
cool, you as well.
I've met another good friend. This is what I like about RC too. I'm always meeting great people, and I consider them friends. And good luck to you and your daughter. As she goes on with her racing career.
And good luck with your new track and your Nitro and stuff.
Hey, are you a football fan? Like soccer?
I'd say I'm not. How about I saw on your Skype that you were is it Manchester City?
Oh yeah. I most definitely.
I'm not a football guy, I'm afraid.
How about cricket? You like cricket?
All of it. I like cricket if it's got a beer in my hand to watch it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, motorsports, F1, I take it then.
Yeah, F1's good. Yeah, a bit of rallycross, rallying, anything with an engine and wheels, really.
Yeah. Who's your driver in Formula One?
I'd like to see Kimi do well.
You would? I'm a Hamilton fan. He's from England.
He's fast. I'll give him that. He's a bit showy.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting boring as well.
Hey.
I'd like to see Kimi do well in the
If I made the type of money he made, I'd be showy myself.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I remember we need step it up from the radio control to bigger cars for the money, but it's all about fun.
Cool, dude. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the Techno RC Grassroots segment. And have a good day, man.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
You are now locked in to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. Check out AssaultRC.com for the latest products for all your performance RC needs. Featuring the best lubes and specialty tools on the market. Use promo code LEFTY19 at checkout for 10% off your entire order at AssaultRC.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment. This is the segment of the podcast dedicated to our listeners' set up questions that will be answered by Joseph Quagrain, Max Moore, whoever else we feel that are worthy of answering such questions. We thank you for your questions, and we thank Assault RC for sponsoring this segment. So what's up, Joseph? How are you today?
Well, what's up? I'm just building an e-car here because I need to pay some bills.
Oh, yes, the infamous e-car. I don't even want to talk about that right now. Don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, I understand.
All right.
I kind of feel the same.
All right. Our question for the Assault RC Invisible Speed segment comes from Nathaniel Hunsacker. I'm sorry, Nathaniel. I think I butchered your last name. I know he's from Colorado.
Sacker? What was it?
Hunsaker. That's what it is. Hunsaker. Sorry. Don't be an idiot. Do not be an idiot.
Okay.
But yeah, Nathaniel's from Colorado. I've talked to him a few times on Facebook. What's up, Nathaniel? He has actually a really good question. And let's see if you can answer it. He says he would like to know how and when to recognize the need to change out front and rear sway bars. And why do you do it? So go.
Okay, the sway bar. The sway bars is one of the first things you should look at to change when you go to a track. And I would say, when you have a good basic setup, like the JQ Black Edition, it has a good stock setup. The car will be good on every track with that setting. So the sway bar would be one of the first things to change if you go to, for example, a high grip track. So you're kind of driving on a medium grip track, then you go to a very high grip track. What happens is the car is going to start rolling more, diving more. All the movements the car does will be bigger because of the higher grip. So to limit the movement, one thing you can do is to go to thicker springs, harder springs. But another good way to limit the movement is to go to thicker sway bars. So higher grip, you would go up on sway bar, maybe just one step. So if you're running, for example, 2.3 in the front, 2.5 in the rear, you would go up 2.4 in the front, 2.6 in the rear. So you would always go up on the front and the rear at the same time together to keep the same balance. What that does is, on a higher grip track, it will make the car more stable. It won't roll so much. It will reduce traction a bit. The car will stay more flat and will be more stable, easy to drive. Then the opposite is true. If you go to a loose track, then it makes sense to put thinner sway bars on. So you can go to a 2.2 and a 2.4, for example. And then the car will gain some grip. It will roll more and it will be more forgiving. So you'll have more grip on the slippery track with thinner sway bars. Then there's one other thing you can do with sway bars, and that's alter the balance of the car. So you can, for example, go to a thinner sway bar just on the front. And when you do that, the front end will have more grip, so you'll have more steering. Also, because you keep the rear sway bar thick, you have more steering off power going into corners, but then on power you'll also have good steering. Then you can also do the opposite, to where you go thinner on just the rear sway bar, and that would add more rear grip. So your car would be a bit more stable, less steering, more rear traction. So that's really the basics for sway bars. So higher grip, thicker sway bars, front and rear. Adjust them together to maintain the same balance. Lower grip, a slippery track, thinner sway bars. Adjust them together again to maintain the same balance. I would just do one step at a time, so 0.1 at a time if possible. And then if you want to alter the balance of the car, then do just one end. Thinner sway bar on the front, more steering. Thinner sway bar on the rear, less steering, more rear grip. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so you can give me an example for myself personally. If I wanted to just change the front, give me an example when I would just change the front rear sway bar. Like actual example on a track.
Okay, so let's say I'm at the track and I feel like my car is good. It's feeling good, but I just need the car to have more steering. And also, I feel like it's a bit nervous. It's a bit nervous, yet it pushes in the corners. So initial steering is a bit nervous, and then when I get into the corner, it pushes. In a situation like that, it could be good to go to a thinner front sway bar, because it helps in both situations. A thinner front sway bar will make the car less nervous initially, and then it will add steering when you are in the corner. And then why wouldn't you just go thinner front and rear? Well, let's say that on this track, if you go to a thinner rear sway bar, when you drive aggressively, like you're going through a sweeper or you're exiting a corner and you get on the gas hard, the rear kind of wants to squat down, and it rolls too far, unsettles the car, and then you kind of have to correct what the car is doing. So the rear end is too soft with that soft sway bar. So you keep the thick rear sway bar you keep the thick sway bar in the rear so that you can still drive aggressively. You can get on the gas aggressively. The rear stays more flat. It doesn't roll too far. It doesn't make the car unstable. You only go to a thinner front sway bar to get the steering. So that would be one situation where you would do that.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it. So you can adjust both. You can adjust one at a time, depending what you're looking for on the car. How about the rear? When would you change the rear? The rear, just the rear.
Typically, if I only adjust the rear, it would be to go to a thicker rear sway bar. So I think what I would notice is that when I'm driving around the track, I feel like the rear end is too soft rolling. So like I said, for example, accelerating out of a corner, when I do it aggressively, the car will squat on the outside rear wheel. And it gets unstable in those situations. Or I'm going through a high-speed section, high-speed corner, and the car just doesn't want to go through there. It feels unstable. In those situations, I can go to a thicker rear sway bar, and it helps the car stay more flat and get the power to the ground when you're on power at high speed. So in a situation like that, I would go to a thicker rear sway bar to help make the car more stable.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you, Nathaniel, for the question. I hope Joseph was able to answer it for you. And thank you, Joseph, for your answer. And I
could add one more thing, because
you just never stop, do you?
Yeah.
When I think it's over, you think of something else.
Yeah, I just thought of something. So you can see this on some tracks where a car will go into a hairpin, for example, and you can see that the inside rear tire lifts off the ground completely. Do you know what I mean? Like you go into a tight corner, and you slow down, you turn into the corner, and the inside rear tire will actually completely lift off the ground.
Okay, yes, I understand.
Like the front end will dive, and the rear will go up, and the inner rear tire will lift off the ground. So that situation, if you would like to fix that only using sway bars, what you would do is you would put a thicker sway bar on the front to reduce the roll of the front end, so the front would stay more flat. Then you would actually put a thinner sway bar on the rear, so that instead of lifting up like that, it would allow the car to roll. So does that make sense?
Yes,
so you
it does.
stiffen up the front so it doesn't roll so much onto the outside tire, and you actually put a thinner sway bar on the rear so that it doesn't lift that inner tire up. So instead of lifting up the inner wheel, it will keep more weight on both rear tires, and the car will roll instead.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, anything to add before we finish this up?
No, that's about it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Nathaniel, for the question. Great bunch of guys up there in Colorado. Met them at Silver State. Not Nathaniel, but I met a lot of guys from there. They like to have fun. Thank you, Joseph, for your analysis. And thank you, Assault RC, for sponsoring this segment. Remember, guys, go to assaultrc.com. Type in Lefty19, and you get 10% off your order. Keep the questions coming for the Assault RC Speed segment. Send me a private message. I prefer you put it on our Facebook page. And, we're going to stump JQ one of these days.
Hey, you know what? I have one more thing.
Jesus.
Yeah, but this is about Assault RC. So you know what they need to make? They need to make that tool stand that you like to throw at me for the Ultimate Racing tools.
Oh.
Yeah, we had this issue at the RCGP. So we're using the Ultimate Racing tools now, and they don't fit the tool stand. So he needs to update that.
Got you. All right.
Maybe tell Brent.
Good stuff. I like it.
Yep.
I think it has the smaller holes that fit the what is it? The Assault, the Ultimate wheels are bigger or smaller?
They actually have different sizes, and it just didn't work out really good.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time, and I still like the tool holder. I ain't worried about you, and it's good to hit you with. So, anyway, guys,
They can make second version.
I guess I don't know how that. I don't even know what goes into making that stuff. So
Maybe more lightweight and soft corners too.
yeah, you don't like getting hit with those hard corners, do you?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on. Whoa. Things are about to get serious. It's time for the JQ Racing Rant.
Welcome to the JQ Racing Rant. This is the part of the podcast where you got to put your big boy pants on. No holds barred. We try to keep it uncensored, even though, sometimes we have to censor some things. But
yeah, like last week, you censored my whole rant.
Yeah,
whole segment.
Yeah, I did. No, it wasn't last week. Was it?
Was it the week before?
Yes, it was the week
Anyway,
before.
It was just too good. It was too good of a rant to where you just shelved it.
Was it last week? I can't remember.
Maybe it's 2 weeks ago. I can't remember.
I don't remember. You talk so much, I just kind of lose myself in it,
I just remember it was an epic rant, and then you didn't have the balls.
Well, now you know how Jeff Keaton feels. After I censored his epic rant that he made. Anyway, this week's rant is something that I see come up quite a lot. And I'm kind of mixed on it because I have my opinions and whatnot. Is RC too expensive? You go,
Yes.
Joseph.
Yes, as in yes, we can rant about this. But no, it's not too expensive. Yeah,
I do think things are too expensive in RC. Some things. I think, all right, compared to other motorsports, RC is not expensive. Everybody pretty much is sponsored that gets a deal on everything, whether it be a chassis, tires, motors from a hobby shop, whatever. Everybody's getting a deal nowadays. So they're getting something off, right? I think RC, yes, to start is kind of expensive, when it really isn't. When you think like maybe $2,000, $2,500 for a good setup, good radio, good, I'm talking about like a great radio, a good car, good motor, good servers, all that type of stuff. I believe in buying things once and not skimping on that. Now, if you race that one class and just go race that and have fun, you will spend money on tires. You will spend money on fuel, like Nitro. You will spend money on fuel, consumables, clutches, plugs, bearings, all that type of stuff. But if you race that one class, you can still do it relatively cheap compared to, let's say, motocross, which I don't like to compare to motocross because you can actually sit on the bike and ride it. But I don't even know how much a brand new motocross bike costs. So
I don't know, 10 grand.
Yeah, so there you go, 10 grand. Then people are putting all this money. Then it got to include gear, trailer, extra tires. People want to do different suspension work, do this, do that. Easily $15,000, $20,000, I would say. Of course, you can do it cheaper, just like you can do RC cheaper. You can buy used and whatnot. I think RC gets expensive when people are trying to race 3 or 5 classes every week. You got guys out there that are racing, they'll race e-buggy, they'll race nitro, they'll race nitro buggy, they'll race truggy, they'll race mini truggy, they'll race short course, all in one race. Okay, maybe not that much, but you get what I'm saying here. They'll race e-truggy, they'll race all of this and be like, man, this is expensive. And you know what? Of course it is, because you got to buy tires for all of that. Tires is what's expensive. Tires is what costs money.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joseph?
Here's what I think. Is it too expensive? Are the cars too expensive, parts too expensive, etc.? No, I don't think so. I think an argument could be made that the cars are actually, I'm talking about racing now, that cars are actually too cheap. Because, well, I don't know. I don't know if they're too cheap, because the problem is, I think that most companies aren't selling at retail. If they actually sold at the retail price, I think everyone's margins would be okay.
Exactly.
And that would be fine. So I'm saying, like, if a car costs like $599, $549, yeah, that's actually okay. But the problem is that most cars are sold at maybe $100 less than that, probably. So yeah, maybe I'll take that back. The cars are probably priced correctly. An argument could be made that tires are too expensive, because what are we paying? Like, a normal customer will pay what, 50 euros for a set? Maybe it's $50 also.
No, I think you're going to pay more than that. If you're going to pay retail, you're going to pay maybe $60 or more. $50, $60. I can buy motocross tires for that price. You know, it's somehow I just feel like if I can buy a front and rear tire for a dirt bike for the same that I can buy some RC car tires, something's not right. Yeah, and
that's just the feeling I get. Like, how do you even justify that? I just feel like the tire companies in RC, they have sort of got away with charging that much. And maybe it's a bit too much, to be honest. There's an argument to be made there that tires are too expensive. And
the thing is, let's be realistic. I was, yes, kits have increased in prices, but not by much. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I think Mugen used to be like $550. It's up to like $675 now. You know, but it's in line with most kits out there. Yes, it's going up by a few $100s, but like you said, most people are getting a deal on stuff. You know, you know. Now tires.
So I think cars and parts and accessories, all that stuff, I mean, the pricing is okay. It's not an issue. But yeah, tires, I can see how you could argue that tires are a bit too expensive. But then looking at the big picture, so RC as a hobby, or if you want to take it more seriously as a serious hobby, or if you want to call it scale motorsports, is it an expensive motorsport? Is it too expensive? Hell no, it's not too expensive. RC is something that pretty much anyone can do that's capable of having a hobby. Like, if you have a home, if you have parents, who always says that? Oh yeah, Nick Hernandez always says, if you ask him, like, how are you? Everything's okay? He said, yep, I've got both my parents. Like, that's him. Like, everything's good. He's got both his parents.
Yeah.
So if you have parents, if you have a home, if you're able to go to school, you have a good life, right? That's a pretty good life. So you can get a summer job, side hustle job, whatever. You can do something to where you earn some money. Legally, of course. And you can earn enough money to buy yourself an RC car. You can start racing RC. And you know how I know this?
Because you've done it. I know. We know your story. You worked. You was a kid. Blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
but
blah,
listen,
blah, blah.
It's true. I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy RC equipment with money you earn from your summer job when you're 14 years old. It's possible. Yeah. You cannot have a summer job and buy a go-kart and race on a national level with a go-kart.
No, you can't.
Or dirt bike, or anything. Those are expensive hobbies, okay? Even just playing ice hockey gets expensive. You know, all the gear for the goalie is expensive, and when you're young, you grow, so you have to constantly buy new skates and new pads and this and that. So it gets expensive. Then you have to pay, I think it was like $600 a month to the team, you know, for the rent of the ice rink and all that shit. So I mean, it builds up. So that's another actually expensive hobby. In RC, you can. This is okay. I'm gonna give you an example. Name a cheap hobby.
There isn't sleeping.
That's not a hobby.
Okay.
Name a hobby that's cheap. It's like, it's simple. There's no equipment. It's like
running.
Stamp collecting.
Yeah, but stamps cost money.
Yeah. No, listen. You're a fucking amateur stamp collector. That's your hobby. You like to sit at home. You know, you like to go on YouTube. Sometimes you go to the dark side of YouTube. And then when you're not on YouTube, you like collecting stamps. That's your deal.
Dark side of YouTube. What's
cheap.
that? What's the dark
I don't
side
know.
of YouTube?
It's like I just imagine. I'm trying to imagine someone who enjoys collecting stamps.
Okay.
And I think that kind of guy might venture to the dark side of YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, Mr. Stamp Guy collects stamps, and basically he feels like this is his thing. He sees a stamp, he wants it, he puts it in his collection. Now, anyone can collect stamps. There's no sort of barrier to entry there. If you can buy a stamp at the corner store, you can start collecting them. So if you have 10 cents, you can start collecting stamps, right? I don't know how much stamps are.
Yeah, I get I get your point. I get your point. Can we get on with it?
It's not an expensive hobby, right?
No.
But then there's another guy who says, yeah, collecting stamps is super expensive. Why? Because he buys the really rare, super exotic, expensive stamps. Then he buys this really expensive, like special booklet that he puts the stamps in. And then he has this box, which is like a box where you put this expensive booklet, and it's like in a vacuum. So the stamps like last millions of years. And then he has this, and then he's like, I need to buy a mansion so I can fill this mansion with all my special booklets full of special stamps. And then I need to make it into a museum. And then I need to get a limo so I can have people fly into the airport. I need to build an airport so people can fly in. Then I have a limo pick these people up and come and look at my
you're
stamps
going way off
in the mansion.
Oh gosh.
You can make stamp collecting really fucking expensive if you want to, right? Or you can be the guy who most of the day is on the dark side of YouTube and then sometimes spends 10 cents on a stamp and adds it to his collection.
Yeah.
So stamp collecting can be really cheap or it can be expensive. Well, the same thing with RC. You can race RC on a national level with the money you earn from a summer job. You can buy secondhand cars. You can buy secondhand everything pretty much. Mm-hmm. You don't need the latest bling bling. You don't need the latest car.
You know why? Because guys are switching chassis every 4 months. Oh, I need this car so I can be faster.
Need all of that shit. You need a good car, good equipment. You need to take care of it. You need to work on it. You need to learn to drive. And you can do that on a low budget if you want to.
You don't need personalized shirts. You don't need personalized pit mats. I mean, all that stuff's cool.
Yeah, you don't need that pit mat. You don't need those speakers. You don't need that Louis Vuitton wallet that you put down next to your speaker and line it up with your tools. You don't need that shit. You can do that, but you don't need it. You don't need the pink plastic pinion gear either. You don't need it.
Oh, Brent's gonna be pissed off at you.
Yeah, but if you want it, you can have it.
You know what?
So you decide how much your hobby costs.
And I honestly think it comes back to guys trying to drive too much classes, trying to run too much classes, and that costs money. Like, you have to have spare parts for that. You have to maintain all those cars. You have to have tires for all those cars. If you ran one class, and let's say you go to a big race and maybe run two, it would be just so much easier. I get it. When people go to these big races, they want to race multiple classes to get track time and stuff like that. But you go to a club race and you race 3 classes? Man, come on. Don't talk to me about RCs being too expensive.
Just get a 10 scale 2-wheel drive buggy and just go racing. That's it. You know?
Yeah. So
brushless motors, lipos, whenever someone says it's too expensive or this and that, it's just an excuse for them not wanting to be smart or work.
Yeah, man. RC can be as expensive as you want it to be or as cheap as you want it to be. Hey, man, I've raced on a budget. Cut firms out of tires. Saved good wheels, acetone wheels, so you can use rims twice again. Man, my old Mugen days when my Mugen arms used to warp just by sitting on the car, I'm a Mugen guy. They warp, and I heat those things up and bend them back. I was like, I'm gonna get one more run out of these things, and I was guilty of that. I was running 3 classes at one time and trying to race, truggy, nitro buggy, e-buggy, and it cost a lot of money. Luckily, I only race every once in 1.5 months, every 2 months. But now I just want to race one class and cool. And you know what? I want to drive my scale trucks. So that's all I want to do.
Oh, God.
And I want to get a 5th scale.
Scale trucks. That's a whole different... That can be a rant for the future. Like, is scale trucks destroying the image of RC?
No, it's not. Scale is awesome. Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Is RC too expensive? Can you do it on the cheap?
No, don't let us know. We don't even want to know because it's not too expensive.
No, you're an idiot. Shut up. Everybody has their opinions. I like to hear what people have to say. But I do.
Well, you can listen.
Are you outside now?
Yeah, I'm outside. I came outside here. I have some business to do here.
Is it still daylight? Is it still daylight there?
Yeah, it's always daylight here. It's
good stuff.
9:30, but it's daylight.
All right. Well, that ends our JQ Racing Rant. Hey, stop that! Stop!
I'm painting. I'm busy.
Let me finish Let's just finish this. Can you wait 1 minute?
Okay.
So, do you? Bird sound good, and he's gonna just spray this while we're doing this.
And we're done with the rant.
Yes, but anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed episode 27. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to our sponsors, Fast Race, Assault RC, JQ Racing, and Techno RC for coming on board and sponsoring these segments. We are looking for more sponsors. If you guys are interested, hit me up. We got some levels, that I think that everybody can be interested in. Thanks, JQ, for going outside, and now it's just all loud. Cars are driving by. You're painting stuff. Birds are chirping.
Listen, I just want to say one thing. Suomi voitti lätkäs maailmanmestaruuden. Tai Tesman ja kaikki kanadalaiset on paperi.
I didn't even know what that means. I heard Ty Tessman in there.
Yeah, because he's Canadian. Finland beat them in Ice World Championship.
In hockey, yeah, you guys are all into that hockey stuff.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff.
3 World Championships during my lifetime now. 95, 2011, 2019.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Like I said, thank you to everybody for tuning in. We're working hard for next week's episode. I'll announce the guests later on this week. And I hope you enjoyed this. And if you guys are patrons on our podcast, we appreciate that too. Go to patreon.com/thequaygrain. Every little bit helps. And thank you once again to everybody who donated for the Packy Chip Challenge for the MDA race. Thank you to the Charles family for letting me do that. Got to give back sometimes, got to give back. RC's been good to me. I'm trying to give it back some way, somehow. And remember, if you want to be a guest on the Techno Grassroots Racer Spotlight, hit me up. If you have hit me up and I haven't gotten back to you, or or whatever, just hit me up again, man. I've been kind of busy lately, so my Facebook messages get pushed down. Busy. And thank you, Joseph, for your time. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Yeah, E-Buggy is paying my bills.
Yeah. Remember, Nitro is the glory.
I hope.
Yeah, I hope they come soon too. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills, and if you ain't having fun, it don't make sense doing it. Talk to you guys later.
Keep it low class, dude.
Low class but classy.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. Please tune in next time for more fresh RC content. And if you can, please also support us on patreon.com/thequaygrain. We will greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, Nitro is the glory.